Hello, everybody. Glad to be here with you guys tonight on this wonderful Wednesday night. It feels like it's been forever, even though it's been yesterday with special guest Tokenizer, right? So tonight it's obviously JASMY. Tomorrow it's going to be Stronghold and Stellar, and got a lot to catch up on, right? A lot to talk about and so on. Just want to start off with thanking you guys for, bearing with the whole change of the schedule and me being absent and so on. You got to watch a lot of other great content, a lot of other great people in this space. Shout out to the one and only Crypto Future 99, right? Rob. You guys saw Jesse, KR Finance, some of those guys. I will be joining them on Saturday because Sunday is Easter Sunday. I just want to advise you guys to please smash the like. It helps get the algorithm triggered on both X and also YouTube. All right. And also, please give me a follow over on the X platform. It's more than appreciated. Let's start off with the first comment of the day before we kick it into the live show and get into the JASMY content. Let's start off with the first comment. It comes from the one and only Tim Shea, who sprays from far away, who says, "Hey, having everybody hit that DECK and the thumbs up." Thank you so much, Tim, for being here. The Mayor Crypto, the Crypto Commissioner, representing the 589th District of the XRP Army and his fellow constituents, Tim Shea. Thank you, my friend. Dennis Lill is also in the house. He says, "Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you so much for always retweeting the show. It's more than appreciated." All right, let's see. We also are going to welcome Mr. Turpin52. Thanks for being here. Crypto Coin Guy says, "Good evening, everyone. Long live JASMY." Yes, long live JASMY. We're going to get into a few more comments. Only about 3 minutes into it. Welcoming the community. But yes, shout out to Crypto Coin Guy and the Elmo token. How about that? Yes, there is some memes that will do well. Maybe your meme will do well. Not financial advice, right? But yes, check them out if you wish to do so. And no, Max is not paid by them to say that. Just trying to be a good guy, all right? Welcoming people from the community. So you are appreciated. All right, Brittany is in the house, looking lovely as usual with the double thumbs up. Double thumbs up. Thank you very, very much. Brittany, Stump Rider is in the house. Welcome back. Welcome back. Crypto Homes 777 in the house. Obviously, Tim Shea's welcome a lot of you guys. Really cool to see that going on. We got Element Rage in the house. Let's see here. Balaclava Man, welcome back. I've never forgot your avatar. Yes, welcome Balaclava Man. Tali me banana. I don't know. JASMY want Hara to go home or something. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense, but that's all right. Buck Snort says, "Interesting." What's interesting? The title? I don't know. We'll see. Just welcoming a few more of you guys before we kick it into the updates and so on. Ketones, not glucose. Welcome. BSV's unbounded scaling is Bitcoin. I would agree with you on that. We will have some BSV Bitcoin the next few days. We're also going to welcome back KK, Tim Shea. What's it say? Cheeks is in the house. Good evening, Max, and hello, everyone else. This show's topic looks perfect. Thank you. Yeah, I got to address some of that stuff, right? But yes, KK, welcome, welcome. Cool Cat Crypto is in the house. And yes, we got the one and only Crypto Future 99, who is Rob Mass in the house. And yes, I have a surprise for these two, which is Rob and Jesse when I tune in or I'm part of the show on Saturday. Apparently it's at, I forgot the exact time. I don't know if it's 1:30 Central, something like that. I'm sure Rob will let us know. But anyway, the surprise is a certain clip, blast from the past, which shows Rob wrestling. Very interesting clip. And if anything, you guys will get a good kick out of it, right? We all have to have a good laugh. I don't mean it in a bad way, right? It's funny. You guys got to see it. I did a Google search and I was like, oh my goodness, this was awesome. So yeah, good stuff. All right, let's also welcome Jack Thompson in the house. I do appreciate you guys. Salamander's in the house. I was actually wondering about you, Salamander, and your well-being. I said to myself yesterday, hopefully Salamander watches yesterday's show because we talked about XDC. And I know you're big up on XDC. So Salamander, I'm glad to see that you're okay. And welcome back. It's been a very long time since we've seen you. And so I'd like to welcome you back. All right, Roosevelt McKinsey, Houston, Texas, in the his house. Welcome, welcome. Bloopity bloop, welcome back. I haven't seen some of you guys in a while. And you want to know something else? Let's welcome back Crypto Info DYOR. He says, "What up, Max? Let's get it, get it." Yes, thank you very much. I know we said we go about the 5 minute mark, but lots of good people here. Yes, thank you for being here. GT Max, is there anything I need to do with my XCN before the upgrade? It's a small bit on Coinbase. That I don't know. I had to look more into that. That is a good question. Anybody else in the community can answer that? We'd really, really appreciate it. All right, let's also welcome OG Crypto. Says hey, hey, and here's the update. So it's you're calling it JASMY Roundtable Saturday at 1 p.m. Okay, interesting. Cool. 1 p.m. Central. All right, so that's 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. or 11 a.m. Pacific. So that's 11 a.m. for me. Okay, cool stuff. Thank you, Salman, for the $3 super chat. Yes, super sticker. Welcome, welcome. Do appreciate you. Jack Thompson says shalom to OG. And who else we got up in the house? We got Website Warrior. That's a cool name. Yo, new to the channel. Subscribed to you not too long ago for the solid JASMY content. Keep it up, man. Will you keep it up by showing up? How about that? Thank you for being here. Ketones wants us to know flat out BSV's unbounding scaling is the only commodity that exists in blockchain, period. Or as my dad used to say, period. Man, that rings some bells and whistles back in the day. Anyway, Lord of the Realm, what up, everyone? And if anything, let's welcome just a couple more of you guys. T-Mac, DJ Kiddo, got to make sure I say that right. DJ Kiddo from the Luna Classic community. Thank you for being here. Says JASMY for life. I still have a lot of Luna Classics, so right on. Anthony William, everybody's welcome each other, so this is good. Mega Bullish Max, JASMY partnership with Panasonic. Yes, I'm not the only one talking about it, but I'm going to give you guys just a little bit of my own 2 cents instead of just typical fluff. Shout out to the one only. Fluffy Fluff in the banana hammocks. Again, guys, please smash the like. It triggers the YouTube algorithm. And let's see here. 27 likes, 62 people on YouTube. Total of 85 so far. So we're going to get into it. It's been a while since I talked about JASMY on the live show with you guys. I am completely over the hay fever, thank God. And on top of that, had some really, really bad pain that was causing me to be just exhausted all the time. Got over it, prayed about it last night, said, Lord, you're going to have to heal me from this, period. Like we said earlier, period. And so incredibly thankful for that, to be over those ailments, or what do you want to call it, right? No fun. It's hard to stay motivated when you're in a lot of pain, right? It takes the sap out of you. So, guys, if you haven't watched yesterday's show, the replay is uploaded. It was with special guest Tokenizer. If Casper is your thing and XDC is your thing, you might want to watch that on the replay, but you're here tonight, and we do appreciate you. You can always go back and watch that. Just for all the newcomers, there is a recorded video section, which is called videos, and of course the live gets pushed into its own section. Another little announcement I want to make is on Friday, we have special guests back on the show, Rue Black. We will continue our coverage in regards to SwiftCoin. If SwiftCoin is your thing, you also want to make sure that you stay tuned for that particular segment. All right. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get some of the branding up. And it's been a while since we put a JASMY logo up here. Probably a little over a week, right? Feels like it. Here it is. So as we start this segment for JASMY, I want to give a shout out to a few people. And as we get more into the research, you're going to see about 3 or 4 people get this proper shout out. So first person I want to give a proper shout out to is Lil Bid Man. And you're going to see why. So let's go ahead and pull this up right now. And to start things off, we are going to talk about this whole thing of Sony Bank. Now, as we know, in the past, we've done some deep dives about Sony Bank and some of the connections with JASMY and so on, by simply, connecting the dots and whatnot, right? So on this, you're going to see some things that are more than interesting, at least in my opinion. So let's go ahead and full screen this for a bit. And this is, of course, taken from the Medium. Sony Bank Connect for Web3 Entertainment to launch in summer 2024. How long ago was this? March 15th, 2024. So, again, roughly about a week or so ago, right? You see a lot of references in Japanese and so on. But the point is, seeing some of the things listed here: NFTs, Sony Bank Connect, so on and so forth. Sony Bank announced the release of quote unquote Sony Bank Connect in summer of 2024, aiming to contribute to the expansion of the creator and fan economy in the Web3 era. Now, guys, let's just state this. We understand how big, the JASMY connection is in regards to Sony. And, I'll give credit where credit's due. Also, A-Star is at the forefront as well. But getting more into this, there's things that you simply cannot dismiss. And if anything, I thought I would bring it to you guys tonight. So let's get a little bit more into this, and you will see this whole thing about what? Sony Bank Connect is a smartphone app for the Web3 entertainment domain, themed, quote, allowing anyone to easily and safely enjoy connecting to expanding moving experiences. Now, guys, where I'm going with this is this, okay? You got to keep in mind, some of these apps may be independent apps. You also know that I'm going with the whole thing of JASMY doing some big things with the Super Wallet. What could we possibly see with the two working with each other? Or is this disguised as a super app? Now, of course, I have nothing confirmed on that. But when I got more into the research, I just want to present some material. You could draw your own conclusion. But you have to stick around for this. You won't be disappointed. By connecting with the service SNFT, it will provide a function to display and enjoy NFT users' own SNFT, a marketplace where users can purchase and manage NFTs with a credit card. Purchased NFTs can be viewed on SNFT and sent to a wallet. It uses an environmentally friendly public chain. SNFT explores the digital existence together with fans and brands. SNFT Inc. is 100% invested by Sony Group. Okay. So, of course, some people will say, well, then there's your answer. And I would agree with you to a sense. But when we get more into this, you're going to see some things mentioned here in regards to this specifically. And that is, of course, these campaigns, and more specific about US dollar denominated green finance security token. And of course, the response to this particular survey. Now, before, many months ago, last year, heck, even people before me, like Jesse, KAR Finance, and lots of other great researchers in this space, have more than elaborated on the green initiative. You guys hear me joke around quite a bit when it comes to, JASMY, and, shout out to Corey Bibe with the Rice Crop Consortium, right? But the point is understanding that while that sounds cool, there's actually a real thing there. What is the real thing? Stay tuned for a little bit more about this. Let's blow this up a little bit more. And yes, you'll see here that Sony Bank Connect will continue to expand its functions after release by incorporating customers' requests, thereby contributing to the future development of Japan's Web3 entertainment domain. And this whole thing about blockchain-based wallet, right? Look at this. Yes, underway for the release of that blockchain-based wallet. So it's interesting to see some of the terminology labeled here and who's basically going to be using it, all right? Getting into the next part of this, this is a little bit more from Little Bidman. I want to share this as well. Okay, so this is March 17th, 2024. Comes from CoinGeek, and as we know, CoinGeek covers quite a few other things other than just JASMY. So you see this reference here. Sony Bank unveils US green security token, Connect app with NFTs and Web3. When you get more into it, it just kind of pounds it home about this whole connection of, Sony Bank and the launch of this mobile app, NFTs, you name it. But it says outside of the NFT-based mobile app, Sony Bank says it will roll out a green finance security token in the coming months. The security token targeting specific Japanese residents will be US dollar denominated, and funds will be raised administered by trust by Tokyo-based Sumo Tomo Mitsui Trust Bank, right? We talked about them before too. The tokens are expected to be issued on Securitize, a private blockchain platform, and it's accentuating Sony's keen drive toward embracing digitalization. I'm not going to get into all these specifics here about Sony Bank's token issuance being paid at 1 million, but this part where it goes on to mention about the greater levels of participation and how Sony says it will incentivize investors with NFTs via Connect mobile apps set for commercial release in the summer. Well, it makes you wonder about the whole timing of all this, right? This other statement, Securitize Sumi Trust, Sony Bank have previously elaborated or collaborated, in a digital securities issuance revolving around real estate in Japan, RWA. Now, let's just take a pause on that. I know there's a lot to mention. Have you guys been noticing? I talked about this yesterday when Tokenizer was on the show. Have you guys noticed on the last week, real world assets that are tied into this whole thing of, blockchain DLT have really been doing well. Relio, we cover that since 8 cents. I mean, God, I hope some of you guys have some Relio. I mean, my God, Relio, right, went up to way over $3. I think it was like 308, may have been a little bit higher than that. Mike Cornwell were talking about like, wow, this is basically like a 30x or more. Okay. And while this segment is, of course, about JASMY, understand that real world assets that are tied into some of these technologies are really starting to stand out. It's not just recognizing Relio. I mean, I cover ClearPool. That's done incredibly well as well. But again, whether it's Bank Social, it's where Relio or Propy. I don't have any Propy, but I recognize it's pretty good. Real world assets. So they have a lot of value. Larry Fink has more than talked about some of these things, but to see JASMY also possibly in the discussion of getting something going in regards to this, this issuance revolving around Japan and real world assets. Basically, it's like this. Strike it up as another utility layer or another sector that they can be part of. That's a big win in my book. Now, to take you a little bit more into this and why I'm obviously pointing out to you, is this right here. And let's go ahead and full screen it again. We're going to see is this talk, this mention, this article. Sony Bank is not only the subsidiary exploring blockchain use cases in the Sony group, with several entities racking up success in their experience with the technology, but they're it says here, several patents revolving NFTs, metaverse, so on and so forth. Of course, some people are going to point out, yes, A-Star. You got to keep in mind, we have found out more than enough times that JASMY, just as much as A-Star, has some real things going on when it comes to Web3 adoption. So, what exactly and why does it matter? Well, I'll take you to this. This is some old research, but it's more valid than ever. I want to give a shout out to the Bitcoin forum. This guy, 33QE. He said he wanted second opinions on JASMY, but in his research that I found out, and again, if you're new, look at this. He said he didn't know anything about Sony before he started looking into it, but he discovered Sony is a massive behemoth, movies, video games, and everything. But again, like we always point out, Sony, are you aware that they have their own bank? Well, there's the reference to moneykit.net. Do you know that Sony has their own insurance company? We point out as well. Do you know that Sony has their own payment systems? Did you know that Sony has people at mega banks, MUFG? We cover that maybe 3 or 4 times. But the point is recognizing this. And here's, I guess you could say, some of the juicy parts. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. I know that wasn't big enough. MUFG, for example, right? One of the former presidents, as we know, runs their Sony Financial. Did you know that the same bank owns 24% of Morgan Stanley? We point out some of these things. So all this is worth being pointed out. And I covered the whole thing about Lime in the past. But this is also really interesting. When you see things about, this whole thing of Grayscale, Santander, Coinbase, right? Sony invested millions into all this, and especially this part, securitize.io. Now, I want to take you over to this because when you see this, you can see why I spent the time, if you will, to connect all this. All right. So this is straight from the Sony Bank site. Okay. And actually, it's not straight from the site. It's from MoneyKit, right? That was the one he was referencing. It says, take your bank with you, seamless payments inside and outside Japan, multiple currencies, all in one card. Now, where I'm going with this is this, okay? It's this whole notion that when you look more into JASMY, and especially leading up to this roadmap, everything that was mentioned in regards to the super wallet sure as the heck sounds a lot about like what Sony Bank was trying to accomplish, but more importantly, what the Sony wallet, yes, the Sony wallet is trying to accomplish. And to see some of these things before the target of 2024, does it coincide with everything that Jasmy's trying to do? Well, possibly, but I think there's something here. And the reason why I want to put out some of this out there and so on is not just to be speculative, but to also kind of reconfirm some things of the past. And then we'll get to the Panasonic segment, especially, you know, because that was speculative news in the past and it was confirmed as recently. And, you know, it's great to do the research and get confirmation. But this part, I think, is crucial. Okay. And if anything, we're going to zoom in a little bit more about this. So you have these things about financial foundation in and outside Japan. Just hear me out on this. Foreign currency accounts, the yen account, this whole thing about ATM withdrawals per month, foreign currency remittances. You know, we're not covering obviously Stronghold tonight, but we understand that Stronghold could play a huge factor into the whole concept of remittances. But Jasmy and remittances, I think, needs to get mentioned because, as we know, Jasmy is entered into the whole ball game of, you know, finance democracy. So when you see this citation here, or reference, I should say, foreign currency remittance, making a foreign currency remittance online, remit up to 11 currencies directly from and to your accounts in and outside Japan. Again, think about a lot of the things that was mentioned the last year or so when it comes to Jasmy. And I like this. Access your money globally with what? Sony Bank Wallet, International Visa debit card, seamless payments in and outside Japan all on one card. Now I get it. Some people say this has nothing to do necessarily with Jasmy, but you got to keep in mind it's the models. And it's understanding that you have guys tied into Sony Bank that own the patents. And these patents will be used, obviously, for what? For the super wallet. So don't overthink it, even though it doesn't directly say it right here. And of course, there's more information about the Sony Bank wallet. We're not going to talk about that. But I want to take you over to here as well. This is a little bit more in regards to moneykit.net about the Sony Bank and so on. But I want you guys to understand why we put so much emphasis on this super wallet. So Sony Bank Wallet, the world in your wallet. Make direct seamless payment in and outside Japan all by one card. Now, for a lot of you guys are saying, like, Max, I don't understand where you're going with this. I don't understand, you know, this has nothing to do with Jasmy and so on. You have to keep in mind this. There is apps that create things to be enabled. And a perfect example would be, for example, a personal data locker. If we see things being mentioned, Web3 and these storage solutions and so on, I'm telling you flat out, it's kind of like they go hand in hand with each other. And we're going to see a little bit more evidence to support the notion. I'm going to blow this up a little bit more and take you to a little bit more about why I decided to get more into this. And if anything, why people like Little Bidman were pointing this out. It says, meet Sony Bank Wallet, our international Visa debit card. Sony Bank Wallet, cash card, Visa debit functionality. You can withdraw cash directly from your yen foreign currency accounts in Japan, more than 200 countries, but to also make easy payments anywhere in the world from one card. Keep in mind some of the things that are mentioned here, okay? So One thing I also love is this 90,000 partner ATMs in Japan. Don't ever overestimate the whole thing of the significance of those Bitcoin ATMs. I'm telling you flat out, those examples that we gave you guys in regards to recognizing what happens when you have the feature of a personal data locker as an option on those touch screens is massive, absolutely massive. I love some of the other things that are kind of mentioned here. People will call this a coincidence. I don't think it is. Club S Platinum members get unlimited fee waive withdrawals. I get it. Some people say, well, that exists in any debit card and so on. You have to keep in mind that when we talk about JASMY, we're also talking about platinum data. Something to be said about that as well. Get into this next part of what we have about using the Sony Bank wallet outside of Japan. Look at this for a second. No need to exchange foreign currencies before you travel. You can withdraw cash in more than 200 countries, regions, so on and so forth. And of course, it mentions the low fees. But you have to keep in mind why this all matters. And I know sometimes people criticize me and say, man, get to the point. I want you to understand where it all comes together first, okay? And then we tie it in at the end. So look at this for a second. Let's full screen this as well. Wish I could make this a little bit bigger, but it kind of gets all lost in translation because, you know, it is a interpretation, okay? So it says this about Sierra from the Sony Bank Market Research Team. After becoming a customer of Sony Bank in early 2019, this person noticed that she was only using Sony Bank Wallet occasionally. So in December 2019, she decided to use Sony Bank Wallet to check if she could really go cashless in Japan. Again, think about this, cashless in Japan. Action, reaction. Japan used to be pro cash, and now they're going, of course, cashless in light of the whole thing of COVID. She set out to use her Sony Bank wallet as much as possible, pay for goods, services, day to day, to check how easy it is to use around town and if there were any benefits from using it. Look what it says here. Mission: live a cashless life for 1 month using Sony Bank Wallet in Tokyo. Objectives: to confirm the extent which I could use my Sony Bank Wallet to pay for things. So my thing is this, okay? Understanding that the PDL, understanding it being tied into, you know, like we've talked about before, Japanese yen denominated stablecoins or the DD token benefiting the society and so on. Everything is literally written on the wall on how this can all work together. You can have examples, and I don't think this is a stretch at all, where the Sony wallet is literally your blueprint, your template for what? The super wallet. And some people say that's a stretch. I don't think it is. Because what we do know is the connections, and what we do know is some of the exclusive patents, especially Kazuma Sato, right? And how that could be applied over to taking some of that and applying it towards the super wallet for JASMY. I don't want to elaborate fully on just this, but I will take a moment to get more into it. This other part about e-money. Think about it, guys. Look at this. Using Sony Bank Wallet instead of e-money eliminates the need to charge your card. Convenience stores, commuter pass offices, hotels, restaurants. And it just goes on and on in regards to some of this stuff, right? You got to keep in mind, what about JASMY and the whole concept of Nippon travel? I believe it is. So what about having your data collected and being used in a safe manner? What about, you know, some of these things in regards to, like we talked about in some of these deep dives, talking about, you know, these patents will be used in conjunction with, for example, you know, checking into hotels or traveling all around Japan. And it's not just the people of Japan. You know, we showed evidence in regards to people outside of it and so on, right? This part I think is also crucial. You know, often thought that using cards for smaller payments at a local mom and pop shop might be inconvenient for shop owners. During this person's month-long mission, they decided not to carry any cash, consciously to keep an eye out for Visa mark everywhere they went, given how uncommon it is to use at many restaurants, so on and so forth. Again, what about the whole thing of keeping an eye out for personal data lockers used here? This is the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is understanding that the Sony bank wallet is a big deal in Japan, but the next era of having a super wallet, an all-in-one wallet, will be even that much more of a bigger deal. Now, I want to get into this part, and of course, this is about the whole thing of the roadmap, and we're going to tie this in to why I mentioned all this about the Sony wallet. Okay, so listen to this part. This is good, and we'll take a break here in a bit. But I want to zoom in a little bit more about this. So Hara, a lot of you guys have seen some of the things that he's posted lately, especially this. This was posted a few days ago, right? He says he hereby released the 2024 roadmap, and if anything, with Jesse and Rob, I'm going to elaborate a little bit more with them this coming Saturday. So look out for that show, roughly the afternoon ish, depending on where you live. He says this year, based on the most basic white paper roadmap, JASMY will focus on two specific points and also announce their expansion to new areas. First, to further expand into the IoT market, develop a joint platform with a world-class company that will spend 3 to 6 months linking data from devices to individuals. Again, guys, think about this, devices to individuals. So why did I go through all of that? Again, don't ever overthink it. There would be multiple devices. If anything, what about the actual Sony wallet, for example? You have to have places where you can store it safely and so on, or maybe like how that data is used. We're talking about next era for Japan, and if anything, for that region of the world. Being able to use your personalized data and have a say on where it goes and so on, even if you are checking into Nippon Travel or some of these other places, right? Look at this. Goes on a little bit more about this. We will then develop, yes, there's the point, a wallet for the exchange of data for value and lockup for the tokens ecosystem embedding. Again, understand the connection on why I went through all the trouble of sharing some of this stuff with you. Finally, as an upfront investment, we aim to open a new carbon credit exchange. Again, back to everything we were talking about in regards to some of the references in regards to going green, with JASMY providing all the infrastructure. Again, all of the infrastructure, not just some of it. He will discuss the details in the space in the community next week. The other day, I think it was last night, shout out to Rob. He, Crypto Future 99, he was, sharing that whole thing of the Telegram AMA, right? It was big. But look at this for a second. It says hashtag Junction. Let's blow this up. 2024 roadmap, data valuation, focusing on the specifics, special focus on increasing the type and volume. IoT device collaboration, partnership with big IoT device company. We already got the big bombshell in regards to Panasonic, and we'll get into that here in a bit. Development of a new function with the company, demonstration of IoT data utilization in quarter three, quarter four. And then look at this, guys, AI customization, additional AI specifications for the personal data locker, quarter one, quarter two, and expanded blockchain PC functionality for AI, quarter two and quarter three. So again, I think this whole thing of recognizing all this is big. And of course, tokenomics, I'm going to wait to talk about this a little bit more on Saturday. But again, I like this. JASMY wallet implementation, exchange collaboration ecosystem, token and value exchange within a wallet. Again, understanding it's not just one sector that JASMY is able to reach. It's a lot of particular sectors. And when you get more into it, back to the whole thing of the carbon credit exchange, compliant with Japanese regulations, obviously. And I do like this, and we'll talk about this on Saturday, credit offset functionality with the token burn. Now, in the past, this was never utilized, ever. It was kind of like you have this functionality, and we've done a deep dive about this, but they never actually used it. And so now To see this, a combination of the lockup with a burn, I mean, I'll be honest, I was more than satisfied with the concept of a lockup, but to have it with the burn functionality, absolutely huge. And of course, I'll be loving to hear Jesse's take on it, Rob's, and so on. But guys, I mean, I'm telling you flat, there's a lot of news, of course, that's happened in regards to JASMY, and we're going to get into all of it. So, this other part about standards, we'll get more into that as well. Launch of testnet, limited trading, all sorts of good stuff, right? Here's the thing. Let me come back into the frame for a second. I want to pound it home just a tad bit more in regards to Sony and these banks. Okay, so here's NeoX Tricks. All right, I should have probably put this a little bit before what we just shared, but that's okay. NeoX Tricks points out here about Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking. Again, back to the other research from 2 years ago. But the point is, SMBC, JASMY's main bank, guys, think about this. Two of Japan's leading financial institutions are shareholders of Japan Travel Agency. This is why I mentioned all this stuff with you guys tonight. In addition, MUFG extends its influence as a bank and shareholder. Worth noting that MUFG and SMBC have significant global presence. Their global reach provides crucial financial support to local partners. And again, back to the whole thing I was talking about with Nippon, right? You can see that reference there. What's also down here in regards to shareholders, Bank of Mitsubishi, UFJ. Look at this other one, Sumitomo, Mitsui Banking Corporation. So it's all verifiable when you look more into it. And the pounding home even that much more, you have Samuel Kim, aka JASMY AI, posts about this. He says Sony Bank becomes what? First Japanese bank to sell dollar-denominated digital securities. Of course, there's a whole article here about it. This was posted on March 4th. Here's the reference, just in case you're wondering about it. It's not perfect, interpretation. But again, look at this. Sony Bank becomes first Japanese bank to sell dollar-denominated digital securities. And then, of course, revealing all the stuff we were talking about, and so on. But my thing is this. Why did I point this all out to you? Why try to connect the dots? Maybe some of you guys already know about some of this stuff. So my thing is this. Let's jump back to this for a second, all right, for you can see some of this. And so I know some of this stuff might scare you when you hear the whole talk of securities. But again, understand this: the FSA, the JVCEA. We're talking about Japan. We're talking about JASMY being the first to be regulatory compliant with a sector that is supposed to be the Japan's version of the SEC. So even if it got labeled in their own country as, what JASMY's trying to do is like securities and so on, well, what would that necessarily mean moving forward? It means that they're still good because they have dotted the I's, they crossed the T's. And here, again, as an example, I think I've gone ahead and highlighted it for you. Again, I'm trying to pound home this whole thing about Sony Bank, okay? So in my own research and so on, all right, this collaboration, once you guys can understand this whole introduction of digital securities, for example, backed by green bonds, right? Don't get it twisted. You have to keep in mind, and let me just stop the share on that one. You have to keep in mind this move. What does it signify? Right? I'd be asking that if I was one of the people in attendance tonight. It does signify a shift towards this whole notion of leveraging blockchain tech for financial products. Guys, this is why JASMY has positioned themselves to enter into this realm of finance democracy. And again, I understand that IoT is always going to be at the forefront when it comes to JASMY. You understand the bigger picture, and it's like, there is something there. Yeah, you better believe it. So, leveraging blockchain tech for financial products. Digital securities, hear me out on this, I know it scares a lot of people away, backed by green bonds, do what? They highlight in themselves a growing trend towards sustainable investing and environmental responsibility, of course, in the financial sector. Say what you want. This is all about a bigger picture of what not just JASMY is looking to do, but Sony connected to the bigger picture of Society 5.0. whether you want to agree with that or not. There's a few other key things I want to get into, and yes, we will tie in the whole thing about the super wallet, but this whole notion that we have, for I guess you could say the first time, a first Japanese bank to do what? Handle ST denominated in foreign currency. You better believe it's a big deal. Why is it such a big deal? Well, people like myself, Jesse, and so on, we have been talking about for at least a good couple years this whole thing of what happens when we have not just local denominated currencies paired up with JASMY, but what if we bring in some of the foreign ones, right? And we did see this a few months ago in regards to, Circle being unbanned. What's next? Tether? Right. That would be a big player. That brings in more volume. And you say what you want, shortly after we saw Circle get unbanned and so on. And we saw, for instance, this law that was passed, okay, a bill that was passed became an act. You saw action and reaction. It was the first big significant pump for JASMY in over a year. And of course, you saw the whole thing about Hong Kong. The rest is history. You got to keep in mind, this whole thing about denominated dollars, marking a whole thing of pioneering this thing, if you will, in the Japanese banking sector, definitely demonstrates, in my opinion at least, and I'm not the only one that feels this way, a willingness to embrace global financial trends and offer diverse investment opportunities, of course, to customers. Does that sound familiar to you? Yes, it does. What is it in a nutshell? Isn't that like an ETF? Yes. Now I know there's no news in regards to ETFs, especially when it comes to Japan and so on. But understanding, getting from one part of where we're at, going to the next part, setting yourself up or organizations up for the next big move. Summer 2024 should be huge, right? What about innovation? Well, there's lots of innovation. What about customer acquisition? Hear me out on this. Were you aware that Sony Bank's plan to utilize ST and NFT for customer acquisition indicates a strategic approach to tap into emerging technologies? What's crucial to understand here is that these are not just your regular run-of-the-mill NFTs. Like I pointed out before, that report from NPR, 95% of all NFTs are basically worthless. What about the 5%? What they didn't mention is the 5% that are tied into utility-based NFTs. That's game changer. And like we mentioned in yesterday's show, Casper, for instance, right, is going to be big on utility-based NFTs. Do you see a common thing here? So by offering a novel investment, of these products and leveraging some of these with assets like, for example, utility-based NFTs, Sony Bank in itself would aim to attract tech-savvy customers and enhance its market presence. Again, its market presence. So by having an enhanced market presence and having these guys that literally have worked with you in the past that created patents, for instance, you could see where this is going to go. Now, where am I going with that? Well, to one of the biggest topics you're probably waiting for to talk about, and that is what? JASMY Super Wallet, obviously. And of course, the whole idea of former Sony executives, being part of the bigger picture. Hear me out on this if you never heard me out for the whole night. I know it's a lot to get into and a lot of comments to catch up into, but this involvement of former Sony executives, including Kazuma Sato, obviously, and obviously Tadashi Morita and so on and so forth, in JASMY, you have to keep in mind it's the whole thing of the relation to digital wallets. Again, back to the whole thing of why I showed you the whole outline of Sony Bank and the wallet. So it's those wallets and the whole thing of financial technology tied into those specific technologies and innovations and so on. Everything that we laid out tonight does, in my opinion, suggest a convergence of expertise and experience from the tech and financial sectors. There's more. With the upcoming launch of JASMY Super Wallet, if I haven't caught your attention yet, I guess I never will, and that's okay. There's potential for synergies between Sony Bank's digital securities initiative and what? Yeah, you heard me right. The JASMY platform. And the JASMY platform will do all of what Hara mentioned, have all the infrastructure. Now, that's a bold statement to state that, right? But you have to keep in mind where we go from here, where we go forward from here. The significance of these developments for JASMY does lie in the potential integration of digital securities, NFTs, and other innovative financial products within the what? The super wallet ecosystem? Now, I know this sounds absolutely nuts, but a lot of things that we talked about in the past have come true by leveraging the expertise of former Sony executives, whether it's Kazumasa Sato or Tadashi Morita. We can capitalize on emerging trends in fintech and blockchain technology. JASMY in itself could very well position itself as a leading player in the digital finance space. And I said this numerous times. We should take JASMY more serious when it comes to finance democracy. And a lot of people kind of just like, I don't know. IoT, yes, but finance democracy, kind of mixed on that. I understand. But you got to keep in mind, all this offers a comprehensive suite, yes, a suite of services to users, not just in Japan, but abroad. Now, before we kick it into the next part, okay, I'm going to state this. We're going to take a pause. We're going to talk about Cybertrust. We're going to talk about how this is utility in motion, and it's one of the best examples of it. I want to give a shout out to this particular guy. His name is MS. He emailed me some of this information. He said that he didn't see it in national publications and so on. So once again, this will be part 2. And I know there's a lot to get into, but I want you guys to understand the bigger picture when it comes to JASMY. We just have to look more into it. We have to take those deeper dives. So I'm 118 comments behind. I have a lot to catch up into. I do apologize for that. Let me take a moment to basically do that. All right, so let me double check the other screen, and let's see where we're at. We have a super chat from Just Forfeit, a $5 super chat, and we also have Richie Rich, who gifted 5 Maximus Crypto memberships. Thank you for that. Boomer Afasuna was gifted 1. Silky Brown, Luis Alvarado, JASMY in my vein, and HMIC 1619 were gifted. Thank you so much for that. We did also have another super chat from Henry Brown. Hello and support to our community and all the mods. I do appreciate that. And the super sticker from Henry Mod, $3 super sticker. Thank you guys. I do appreciate that. Let me get into some of the ones. I'll probably go the other direction. So you might be thinking, why am I doing that? It's just for lots to catch up on too. I do want to welcome Selmo Foot is in the house. Thank you for being here, Selmo, brother Selmo. Just Forfeit says, any way to get Lil Bidman on the live? That's a good question. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. I know a bunch of us would like to meet him and thank him as a deep dive researcher like yourself, Max. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with me and him in the past, I don't know what it is. I give him the benefit of the doubt. He's never mentioned anything like ill will. Maybe it was just an accident, like, as far as getting banned. But I'm more than thankful that he unbanned me because I really did appreciate his content and his research. So there you go. But yeah, thank you so much. I will mention it to him. I won't forget that. I'll say a member of our community was asking about that. Yes, congrats to everybody. Ron Wilson, thank you for pointing that out, and thank you for being here. I like your bee avatar. All right. And again, thank you to Richie Rich. It was more than appreciated for you doing that tonight. Let's also go into see if you guys have anything specific. Oh man, somebody pointed out Jessica Alba from Sin City. Absolutely, Sin City and Honey, man. That was I have to admit that was my crush back in the day. Big time, man. Big time. My goodness. I really look forward to Sin City, the TV series. I heard that they're going to be doing something like that. Let's face it, the second one wasn't as good as the first one, but I did like the second one. November 2018, the Phoenix was born. BSV. There you go. Speaking of Phoenix, my son's going to start in 10 minutes. That's all right. I'll get to watch the second half, BSV's Jessica Alba blockchain. That's a pretty good one. All right. Let's see here. Boomer F. Welcome, man. Welcome. I didn't see you earlier. Welcome, the one and only Boomer Effing Sooner and his dog Monica watching from the couch. Hey guys, I just want to say thank you so much. We did tick up 133 on X, 90 on YouTube. You guys rock. See, that's what I'm talking about. Do appreciate it. Let's just double check real quick on YouTube. Let's have you guys, if you haven't done so already, I know it sounds silly, but it's not. There's an actual real thing. It's called the YouTube algorithm. 64 likes. It does get the program out to a broader base. So I do appreciate that. Hey, there's a guy we haven't seen in a long time. Nelly there. Been a while, man. Been a while. I'm glad that I seen you tonight. There's a dab. Yes, thank you again to Henry Brown with the $3 super sticker. And let's read this from OG Crypto. He says, man, I'm just trying to sit down for some food. Been going like an idiot. You're not going like an idiot, man. You're working hard. I know some of the DMs you sent me and so on. You're just working hard, you know, and you're not an idiot, man. Don't ever be hard on yourself like that. All right. You guys pray for our brother OG Crypto, man. He's going really hard and he's trying to acquire as much of these digital assets as he can. I know a lot of you guys are doing the same thing too. You know, my thoughts and prayers are with a lot of you guys. You may not think so, but I do mean that. I do pray for our community. I pray that we all get to the finish line together. This is not a sprint, like I've always mentioned. It's a freaking marathon, is it not? You may feel as though that you're on your second marathon, right? You know, to a sense, I guess I kind of am as well, because this is my second bull run. Shout out to Legrand Commission. I think it's his third or fourth. How about Samuel Fudd? Maybe you're third or fourth, right? But again, guys, it's a marathon. And I do appreciate that once again from Roosevelt Mackenzie. Okay. All right. So I think I caught up with everything for the most part. We're going to get into part two. Part two is very well worth it. And I know, you know, sometimes there's a lot to explain in that regard about Sony, but it was just a lot of great research. I mean, EOX tricks, Little Bidman, and so on. So again, I want to give a shout out. This was emailed to me. How cool is that? From a person by the name of MS. In fact, I'll start that over again. So MS, thank you so much for your email. Let's go ahead and introduce this. If you guys have seen this, other people talking about, hey, that's fine. I'm going to give you a little bit different perspective other than, you know, just the same old thing. And so let me push that over and let's get into this part. So have you heard of Cybertrust? And if anything, are you aware that's probably one of the best examples of utility in motion when it comes to JASMY, and especially with what's coming up here in the near future? So I'm going to go ahead and present this to you guys for you to see it. Let's talk about this whole thing of JASMY, Cybertrust, the PDL, the whole shebang, why it matters, why point it out. So going to get into that part as well. All right. So this is, again, is interpreted from Japanese to English, so it's not going to be spot on 100%, but we obviously got to do our best. And what do you see here? Well, like I said, Cybertrust, iTrust Identity Verification Service, and JASMY's Personal Data Locker collaborate to support public personal authentication and local currency endpoint services. When was this originally posted? Posted back in November of 2023. Do we have anything a little bit more modern? Well, absolutely we do. We have one that will take you to February as well. But for the purposes of what we see here, I want to get into why I feel as though that this is so significant. So I'm going to blow this up where you can see it, just in case you're like, you know, Boomer effing Sooner on his couch with his dog Monica, right? So, guys, look at this. This is cool stuff because you want examples of utility in motion. So, I like this. Achieving strict online identity verification and creating an account for local currency point services. Say what you want. This is why we even cover this in part one segment of the night. Okay. And you could always go back and watch this stuff on the chopped up version. You know the drill. So this part you see that talks about verification service, right? About Cybertrust, promotes digitalization of business processes and business formations. The iTrust Identity Verification Service from iTrust series. And look at this, guys. Online storage type of personal information management system using blockchain tech provided by JASMY. Now, one thing I want to point this out to put it in layman's terms, for some of you guys and so on. This is a great example of understanding it's not a case of, well, it's just JASMY or bust. It's pairing things with other services that are out there. Okay. What does this remind me of? Well, I'll be honest with you. Kind of reminds me of Quant's Overledger. Quant's Overledger, for example, works with Project Rosalind, and the Bank of International Settlements and Bank of England and so on. But you see how it all ties into a particular, distributed ledger technology? In this case, it'd be what? JASMY's personal data locker. So that is a good example of understanding how these technologies plug in with other technologies to get a particular common goal done, right? So zooming in a little bit more on the material, they are pleased to announce, at least back in last November, that our system, look at this, guys, JASMY Personal Data Locker has become service linked by utilizing the iTrust identity verification service to verify the user's identity when creating a user account on what? The PDL? So there's a perfect example. Guys, what happens when we get more and more and more examples? And when we get more into this, I'm starting to believe the crazy notion of some of this stuff that some of us don't really want to talk about because we feel as though it's unpopular. You know where I'm going with this. The $17+ KPI target, right? Some people don't want to talk about too much because it just seems absolutely crazy. But again, understanding this is just one example of many more to come later on down the road. And of course, Panasonic was the blockbuster, but this one does need to get proper attention too, because it is a great example of the PDL in use. So it goes on to mention when creating an account with iTrust, they will realize strict identity verification that can be completed online using public personal authentication. Remember those examples I gave you guys, I think last week? I know I haven't done a JASMY video in 8 days. I wasn't feeling well, hay fever and so on. They want to be on camera sneezing every 5 seconds. It ruins the whole coverage, right? But the point was, I went into detail about the personal data locker. I showed you specifically those patents. I can't take all the credit. Shout out to our brother Icy Amphibian. He went into full detail about those patents. But when we got into it, and got into the nitty gritty, we were coming to the conclusion of why this was big, because it gives you examples with visuals of how it's all coming together and how that utility does get put into motion. And if anything, giving people the option to put it in motion, period. Maybe you don't want it to really be in motion, or maybe you don't want it to be monetized. But whatever the case be, you have a choice instead of just freely giving it away to the likes of Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple, right? Absolutely. Zooming in a little bit more about this before we kick it into the next part. You have this thing that mentions that this collaboration, if you're wondering, is expected to be used in identity verification for local currency and point services promoted by local governments, organizations with members and organizations. Again, point services, come on, don't overthink it. Don't get it twisted. Point services would be everything that we talked about in regards to the DD token, the pairings to benefit the local economy. This is huge for JASMY. And again, this is just one of many. All right. What about the background of cooperation? Look at this. Promoted by the government, efforts are being made to allow local governments to manage local currencies, local points, using apps using My Number cards. By using JASMY's tech patent, which utilizes blockchain technology, it's possible not only to safely store personal information, but also to disclose anonymized and abstracted personal information to local governments. Example, right, would be like Masu, right? This is another good part. By linking the PDL and iTrust identity verification service, it is now possible to verify identity through personal public uh, through public personal authentication using the electronic certificate built into the IC chip of the My Number card. We've done 2 or 3 deep dives about that. In the case of public personal authentication, identity verification can be completed online instantly by reading the My Number card using a smartphone app. Again, smartphone app tied into what, guys? Think about it. The Super Wallet, further improving user convenience by reducing input effort and speedy identity verification. Say what you want. This is why JASMY needs to, of course, scale up to this next particular solution. Originally was called with Optimism. Obviously, we've gone with Junction, an AI blockchain solution. This roll up is crucial. So, this other part I want to get into because there's too much to get into. I mean, it would take 4 hours to get into all this. Were you aware that until now, various types of information held by individuals have been held and used by IT companies via internet services? The Personal Data Locker is a platform that not only stores data safely, but allows users who own the data to provide and share while maintaining security. Through this, and does it mention JASMY? Yes, it mentions JASMY. Will realize a user-oriented data utilization environment and new value creation that has not been possible before. Again, I love the terminology, not yet possible before. So again, supply and demand, realizing what you have and why you hold it and why you did not give into the FUD of crypto winter. Thank God you didn't. Thank God that you stayed the course. Look at this. And will spread the democratization, not just to Japan, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, but to the world. Cybertrust and JASMY will improve convenience and help improve business efficiency and reliability by enabling secure and rigorous digital verification of identity using public personal authentication. And of course, they have all these certificates here. This part here, the Act of Authentication Services and the Japanese local government information systems. I mean, it's all there. And it gives you all these citations about JASMY's personal data locker, about this whole thing about more about Cybertrust. This part's good. I actually will read this because I know we did a lot about JASMY. Look at this, guys. Cybertrust will be providing authentication services for how long? 20 years. It's Japan's first commercial electronic certification authority, as well as on-premises cloud and embedded areas that apply. So when I think of cloud, let's talk about that too. Now, are we talking about that JASMY decided to go with Polkadot for the Web3 cloud solution? Do we have any examples of Web3 cloud solutions that are teaming up with JASMY instead of just Maximus talking about it on live air? Boom. Boil it, mash it, stick in a stew. It is Cybertrust. Okay. What's another example of, for example, 20 or 30 plus years? Felica. Oh, who's part of Felica? Tadashi Morita. Tadashi Morita has exclusive patents that he can apply to JASMY? Yes. Yes, absolutely. And that's why we point it all out. And I know that sounds a little bit like hype, but in reality, it's just research. It's just research if you're willing to sit and listen to it. And I'm glad to bring it to you guys. And shout out to the whole community of JASMY researchers, not just me, who bring you guys this information. Because you want to know something? This does not FUD me out of JASMY. It encourages me and lets me realize the bigger picture. Now, you might think that we're done there on the Cybertrust segment. No, we're not. No, we are not. Because there's more. Like Billy Mays. But wait, there's more. Absolutely. Shout out to Billy Mays. Passed away in 2009, right? Ironically, did you know that Billy Mays passed away the same day as Michael Jackson? Kind of crazy. Anyway. All right. So, obviously, more about this. Let's get into it. Thank you again to the one and only MS. And what does it say here? Well, this time this is February 14th. See how we're doing a little, somewhat of an update. So what do we have? Well, Cybertrust and iTrust e-seal certificate. I said we want to get much into certificates, but this is a nice highlight. Certificates for electronic signatures are adopted for digitalizing Japan Quality Assurance Organization. Now, can I just mention this? This might upset some people. And guess what? Too bad. All right. I don't mean that disrespectfully. Notice that we had Tokenizer on the show. Now, we didn't talk about JASMY, but we did talk about XDC. So, what is one common thing we know in regards to XDC and also JASMY that they share? It's Genki Oda, right? SBI Japan. Say what you want. This statement about certificates for electronic signatures, for me personally, XDC stands at the forefront for that, especially when it comes to, you know, having something that's game changer for electronic signatures and trade and so on. And again, SBI Japan and Genki Oda personally like has this strategic partnership with BitPoint. So again, understanding the bigger picture and understanding those connections. And I know sometimes maybe people get tired of me talking about Genki Oda, but in reality, my God, I mean, he's the best plug and connect as far as a governmental, um, you know, key player goes, right? We will get more into this. Look at this. Here we go. So, yes, these organizations, the calibration, my God, of the certificates, providing the issuer by attaching e-seals to calibration certificates, etc., supporting safe and secure DEX. Again, February 14th. And you have this whole thing of them being pleased, yes, absolutely pleased to announce that iTrust Remote Signature Service has been adopted to digitalize calibration certificates issued by Japan Quality Assurance Organization. They will make an announcement. They did at least back in February. Cybertrust provides certification, authenticity, and origin of electronic documents, as well as tampering prevention by attaching e-seals using the iTrust Electronic Signature Certificate and iTrust Remote Signature Service client applications. Now, you may be wondering, I don't get this. What you need to understand is this. All right, let me come back in the frame. If I'm going to put emphasis on understanding that medical data is worth a lot more than your kid's, Fortnite skin that's worth $1, I could also come to the conclusion of understanding government documents, especially something like this, being stored on a Web3 cloud solution is going to be worth a heck of a lot more than me, I don't know, having a Steam account, right? Shout out to you guys that have a Steam account, play video games, and so on, right? The point is, data sets that are worth more than other data sets. That's the bottom line, right? And that it's a simple thing that exists. Getting more into this before we wrap up this segment. It says that this thing with Cybertrust provides a certification of the authenticity and origin of electronic documents, as well as tampering prevention, like I said, e-seals. These particular signatures and the certificates by application, remember there's MASU, says by using the service, Cybertrust will help provide digital calibration certificates guaranteed. So you like the terminology here. And again, you have Cybertrust, who's going to work with JASMY to store these data, or the digital calibration certificates on a cloud. What? A Web3 cloud. That in itself is big. What happens when you have more organizations do it? Right, absolutely. You understand the bigger picture. So I'm not getting into all this. There's just a whole bunch, that's into it. I said I want to get into this. I don't want to get to this part up here. But I do like this part. Okay, this is you can call it what you want. This is old Max, maybe kind of beating my chest a little bit. Remember how people gave me so much criticism about JASMY and Quant and ISO? I'm not gonna mention the guy's name. He knows who he is. Anyway, Japan Quality Assurance Organization, fair and neutral third-party conformity assessment organization, consistently supported the development of Japan's manufacturing and service industry since its establishment in 1957. My God. Shout out to anybody who has a 57 Chevy Bel Air. My dad had a 56, but that's beyond the point. Currently, it is currently it is the certification body with the largest number of audits in Japan for management system standards such as what? ISO 9001 and ISO 14001. Now, I'm not going to take the liberty of looking that up tonight, but I have mentioned numerous times that, guys, this whole notion that Kunitake Ando, who is the biggest of all big wigs of JASMY and Sony, doesn't understand the concept of ISO standards is absolute malarkey. Because yet this is another example of Japan understanding the ISO standard. And this is another example. Yeah, it doesn't say JASMY, but this is a company that's connected in direct correlation with partnership with JASMY that recognizes what? An ISO standard. So again, this pounds it home that much more with the research, and that is, if JASMY wants to take it to the next level in the future, right? Way down the road. Maybe it is by 2026 or 2030. We don't know. But it's there. And that could be huge in understanding that they can take it to the next level because, for one, Kunitake Ando, as we mentioned before, does have a company that has the ISO standard. And yet now you have another one that's connected with JASMY for ISO standards. So say what you want. It is what it is. For the nerds that know what I'm talking about with this is right up your alley. For everybody else, they just came in. You probably like, what in the heck is this guy talking about? And that's okay. All right. Getting into the next part. Look at this also. An organization that supplies national metrology standards, probably not pronouncing that right, to industry, calibrates measuring instruments. It is one of the largest calibration institutions in Japan that provides calibration services in this field. Additionally, as designated body for domestic and international laws and regulations and certification systems, we carry out electrical safety certification and testing for electrical products, medical equipment, again, guys, and vehicle equipment. So this is huge because you understand this ties in even IoT, as well as JIS mark certification, as well as testing, inspection, construction materials, carbon neutral certification. Again, back to all the things we talked about earlier. We provide a variety of services, including screening, evaluation, corporate activities aimed at achieving goals. Just awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And just for some of the people just tuning in, does this have anything to do with IoT? Yes. Cutting edge fields such as IoT. So boom, there you go. Right? There you absolutely go. All right. So in conclusion, all right, this is from the notes from MS. I want to give him a shout out once again. And I'll send him an email and reply back, hey man, chop this up and so on. So these are some of his notes I want to share with you guys before we wrap up this segment and get into the last segment in regards to JASMY. So he states that it's understanding this whole thing of, like, for instance, the little insight into the lack of advertising for JASMY. One of the complaints JASMY gets, let's face it, over the course of the last couple of years is, not enough in regards to marketing. And we played, of course, that video from the late great Steve Jobs pointing out, like, Japan, they never really been big on marketing. Their products is what speaks for themselves. And of course, I use all sorts of different examples, when it comes to, like, even, certain Japanese restaurants and so on, right? Do they advertise? Not really. But the point is, the lack of advertising of JASMY, they are not too interested in pushing JASMY to individuals, right? Again, you ever notice a common thing here, whether we're talking about like Ripple's XRP or we're talking about, Quant with the Overledger and so on. All these companies, whether you're a fan of them or not, one thing that exists for all of them is their focus of not being on retail, okay? Whether we like that or not, it's a thing. So JASMY, not interested in pushing JASMY to individuals. They're focusing on major corporations, the institutes. Again, these are the words of MS, and I think this is great. He did a great job with his notes. Institutes and governments. businesses inadvertently will supply JASMY with PDL users. That example we gave you with Cybertrust is a great example of that. And of course, we're going to get more into the whole thing about Panasonic, I promise. But here's an example. And I think everybody, especially here that's stateside, can relate to this. So hear me out on this. So General Motors, as we know, have sold millions of cars, trucks, and vans over the past several years, equipped with, of course, OnStar. This inadvertently supplied OnStar with millions of subscribers. Yes, OnStar currently has over 33 million users. Great example. Here's another one. Over the past several years, millions of cars, trucks, and vans have been sold equipment with Sirius XLM radio. True. This inadvertently provided Sirius XM with millions of subscribers. Sirius XM currently has over 22 million users. Why mention all this? Well, understand some of these targets of how many millions in that PDL that JASMY mentioned a while back, right? We talked about, for example, was 103 million. And we're thinking, man, that's them lowballing. What if we took it over to, $500 million or more, right? Could be absolutely huge. All right, here's MS's proposal. And if you're just tuning in, MS is the guy who provided some of this research, some of those articles from the link from Cybertrust, right? His proposal is this, and I think this is great. He says, over the next several years, millions of cars, trucks, and vans will be sold, IoT incorporated, right? Internet of Things incorporated. This is most likely will inadvertently provide JASMY with over 10 million PDL users. This alone, based on their KPI, would put JASMY coin around, and just hear me out, they'll have a heart attack, the $2 mark. That's just one sector, guys, of the industries. So he says to me, keep up the work. Good work is much appreciated. If you're watching, MS, you keep up the good work. It's much appreciated because I always appreciate people that help me out with the research. It takes off the load of me going crazy with all the research. So, guys, that is another example of providing you key things of understanding utility in motion. That's the whole reason why you're invested into utility over, for example, memes. And don't get me wrong, I'm guilty. I have some meme coins as well and so on. And some of those are really doing well. But the point is understanding the bigger picture. If you understood why you were into JASMY from the beginning, it was because of some of the examples that are being confirmed now and going into the future. So that concludes the JASMY Part 2 segment of the night. There's one more part that we'll get into, which is in regards to Panasonic and why it all matters. So I do want to thank you guys in regards to that. I did have some more of my own notes. My bad. Well, that's okay. I think it was just a little bit more of everything I just mentioned. So that's okay. I don't have to get into those specific notes. So, yes, the next part will be in regards to Panasonic. And this is actually new. And it's from Hara. So we're going to go ahead and pause for a moment. He did post about this specific one today. So we're going to pause for a moment, kick it back into the comments. I just saw that we ticked up to 300. Thank you guys for being here. You guys rock. 212 on Maximus, or excuse me, on X. Thank you to all the guys on X, and 89 on YouTube. I love seeing this. This is what I would like to see. I don't like one where it's just one dominated on the platform. I will state this. You want to join the OGs, come on over to YouTube. We have a great community over here, and you guys are much appreciated. All right. Let's kick it back to the comments. Let's see what we have. Let's see here. Nelly there says, hi, guys. It's been a while. Sorry, been MIA. It's all good. I'm glad you're back, though. Even in my gaming community, we had some guys that disappeared. And unfortunately, we had some guys that passed away. It was sad, So glad that you're alive and well. Nelly there. All right. Michael Tarsha or Tarsia. Let me know how to pronounce it. Thank you very much for all the JASMY news. Very much appreciated. You're very welcome. Love the Punisher shirt. Looks pretty cool. All right, Elon Muff, Mike Cornwell. He's going to throw $20 into Hamstar just in case what he thinks is going to happen happens. Okay. Well, you guys are all welcome to check out Hamstar. It is on it's on Pancake Swap. Not financial advice, but I can't really say do your own research. It's just, hey, it's a meme token. So, all right, let's see here. Let's go further down. let's go further down. Let's welcome the Real Crypto News. What's up? See if you guys have anything specific. All right, so you did some of the super chats. I already read some of that. Thank you for that. I gotta welcome the one and only Corey Bibe. He says, "Good evening, crypto millionaires." Yes, good evening, Corey Bibe, aka just been at the scam. Let's go. Right? That's how it goes. All right. Yeah, thank you again for the $2 super chat. And let's go further down. Let's see if you guys have anything specific. Adler, 1988 magazine with Phoenix and gold coin, dated 2018, year that BSV was forked. All right, let's see here. All right, everybody, I'm gonna thank you again for that. Thank you very much. Of course, Selma Fudd in the house. Thank you. All right, just kind of catching up on some of the stuff. Baby G, welcome back. Welcome back. Here is E. What up, Max? Black Roo fam in the building. Jasmine bags are packed. We ready? Yes, Black Roo in the house. We always appreciate Roo Black, and he's going to be our special guest on Friday. We're going to give you guys some Swift Coin updates. It's going to be a great show. Normally, I don't really do shows on Friday, but you know, I missed so much time with you guys that I kind of needed to get back in the swing of things. So that's cool. All right, let's read this from Corey Bibe. He says, so, oh, sorry, did I say it in that voice? He says, so, lock up and token burn. Let's go. Yeah, he said, let's go. No. You got to do it the horror way, right? All right. Let's see here. There's a question. Boomer F and Sooner. I thought Horace said there wasn't a token burn. I may not have heard that right, though. Now, from what I interpreted, there's going to be a burn. Now you got me wondering, so that's okay. All right. Obviously, we're going to have that roundtable discussion. One of us is going to get it right, or we'll all get it right, or one of the three, or whatever the case, right? But yeah, I'll look more into that. Now you have me wondering, Boomer, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with keeping old Max on his toes, right? And that's cool. I welcome that. All right, Baby G, geez, Max, good stuff. Thanks for the hard work. Oh, you're welcome. I mean, I don't know. How should I say this? So, guys, listen. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag a little bit, okay? I have your attention. I've been working on some real extensive research, okay? And when you guys see the news get put out for it, you'll know. All right. Originally, I was thinking about releasing it this Sunday, but I'm not complete with it. But I was thinking I should be done by Sunday. But Sunday's Easter Sunday. Okay. I'm thinking, well, in reality, I have until about May to put out the news. It'll be my best research ever. And I'm just going to be honest with you guys. You will know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to create hype or speculation or anything like that. There's some big stuff that's going to be released or mentioned in regards to May, around the 16th, roughly. And I think we should all pay attention to it. I'll get a little bit more into the specifics about that, but it's a really, really big deal. It has to do with AI and all sorts of stuff, right? Blockchain, you name it. But it is something that I've been working on. Min and Logwar is part of our community. He's been helping me out with some of the research too. And you'll like some of the stuff that we found. That's all I'm going to say about that. But in my opinion, it's going to be the best research I ever came up with. Not just me, but some of the other guys who join up with me in that regard. A lot of hard work has been put into that. That has been something I've been working on for probably a couple weeks now. All right. So, but want to make it just right. All right, Derek Hine. Hey, man, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back. I always loved your JASMY avatar that you have right there. It looks cool. Looks very, very cool. All right, let's just read a couple more comments before we get into it. Let's see here. Didn't Kunitake Anno pretty much build all of Sony's financial sector, including the insurance companies? No, there's also Kazumasa Sato. That's a good question. Corey Bibe says, Relio Propri, we're on the move today. Yes, man. I mean, Mike Cornwell came into Relio at 8 cents. I came in at 9.8 cents. I did take some profits a while back. Don't have as big of a bag as I do, but still a pretty nice bag. I am more than ecstatic about my Relio. As you guys have seen, it's been well over $3. So I mean, from Mike Cornwell's point of view, I mean, what is that, Mike? Like a 35x or more? I forgot. What was the math that we did earlier on that? Anyway, I think 308 was a 35x, maybe a 36. I don't know. Anyway, innovation zone. Take us out, guys. I want to state this. Some people say when it comes to JASMY, are you too late? So what is one thing we know? When JASMY got put into the innovation zone, it tanked the price something fierce, and as a result, shook out a lot of people. People gave into the fear. What happens when we get out of that innovation zone? You know? So yeah, there's still gains to be made. Not financial advice. You guys got to do what you got to do. But when that happens, that's going to be big news, in my opinion. All right. Stardog's in the house. Wow, man. Nice to see you here at, on a weekday night, man. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, yikes. Ripping us. I just said that. I didn't mean to cuss. Sorry. Ripping us. That sounds bad too. Stop talking like that, Maximus. You will bring great dishonor. Kinda, not really. But you gotta admit, Hara's a good guy. He calls it "Let's go." So anyway, if he can say "Let's go," I can say that. But yeah, anyway. All right, let's read another one from the one and only Crypto Coin guy. Thank you. And Beebs says, new tax laws go into effect April 1st, April Fool's Day in Japan. Maybe that's why Reddit wants everybody to buy a little JASMY on April 1st, because they have partnered with the Motley Fool, because they're a bunch of fools on April 1st. JASMY.scam. Let's go. That's exactly what's probably going on, right? All right. Gotta have a little fun, guys. You know how it goes. All right, let's see what else you guys got. You guys got any questions? Anything specific? Here's a question. Jack, are you familiar with Mober? Oh, the reward token from whatchamacallit? Helium, right? Yes. I'm familiar with that. Just don't hold any of those. I hold AT&T though. All right, Digital G's in the house. Has happy Wednesday, and yes, you're very welcome, Jack. All right, Roddy Smith, glad to see you back with more info. Always a great experience. Thanks, I appreciate that. We'll read a couple more comments. KK, okay, that's back and forth conversation. All right, let's read this from Baby G. For your information, did you know, or did you all know that all McDonald's in Japan can order a regular Big Mac with 2 patties, a Mega Mac has 4 patties, and a Giga Mac with 8 patties? Yeah, I know that across even the United States, you got this thing called McDonald's or whatever. So that's interesting. Yes, JASMY not a scam. It's cool. All right, Rob, Crypto Future. If you're not bullish on JASMY, you're doing it wrong, eh? I can't do you. Maybe you can do me anyway. Anyway, just for that, Max, you're going to get body slammed across the. No, I'm kidding. All right. Joe Solar, keep up the good job, Max. Thank you very much. And with that said, there's a lot of comments, so there's no way I could catch up with all of them. That's good. We got some good problems. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get into part 3. Part 3 is your thing for JASMY. Please smash the like. Let's get into it. Let's clear out some tabs real quick. Lots of good, great research from the community. Kind of helps out with the outline and so on, right? All right. Let's see what we got. I got to close out that. All right. So this is going to start the part 3 segment. All right, guys. So bottom line is this. Panasonic. Wow. Finally, getting news in regards to Panasonic. Not just myself, but other researchers, YouTubers, whoever you want to call it, people in the community talking about things that seem like they were speculative when it came to JASMY and Panasonic. And then to have confirmation from somebody like Hara was big, huge news. Well, if anything, let's take you to another particular update from the one and only Hara-san, which was posted earlier today. Again, if JASMY's your thing, smash the like. It helps the YouTube algorithm and even the X algorithm. So let's pull this up. Here we go. And yes, here it is. Hara. He mentions specifically JASMY partnering with tech giant Yeah, you've seen it everywhere. Panasonic to deploy its Web3 platform for connecting personal data with Internet of Things. Now, I did state that this was posted earlier today. Today is Wednesday, the 27th. Now, the news in regards to Panasonic is not brand new, right? This was the other day. But what is new is the Cointelegraph article. And of course, that's what I want to point out. So let's go ahead and take you over to that. And if anything, we'll blow this up a little bit more. And let's see how much more we can blow it up to make it just right. All right, 150 seems good. All right, so here, Panasonic teams up with JASMY. The partners will offer a decentralized data storage solution based on JASMY's personal data locker. Again, when you guys are watching this later on the chopped up version, please do yourself a favor and watch the I Trust Cybertrust segment, because it'll give you a great example of, even though Cybertrust doesn't seem as big of a deal as Panasonic, again, it's another huge thing because that ties in government. This, on the other hand, ties in a big, huge, brand such as Panasonic. But again, this is opening up the floodgates, in my opinion, in regards to JASMY. So again, we're going to full screen this, point some things out. And yes, tech giant Panasonic partnered with JASMY to roll out a Web3 platform. The new platform will be based on JASMY's personal data locker product. IoT platform developer JASMY and Panasonic Advanced Technology began their collaboration in February, but announced it on March 26th, which was yesterday. All right, that was big, huge news. The new platform will provide secure data storage and give users control over the access to their data, as well as improving processing and reaction times, according to the statement. This platform incorporates agile development methods into Web3 tech and develops with an emphasis on speed. We'll implement the public platform as an open platform, recruit users widely, and aim to use it in a wide range of fields. This part, recruit users widely. I mean, I like that statement. This tells me that it's not just, oh, we might get to the whole point of mass adoption. Panasonic wants to recruit users widely. Guys, think about this for a second. This is, of course, about Panasonic. What the heck happens in the future when, instead of recruiting users widely, you have an instance of, I don't know, the new Sony PlayStation 6 of the future? You know where I'm going with this. And you have, for instance, Sony PlayStation 6, and it mentions something like powered by JASMY Personal Data Locker, teamed up with them and so on. In which basically, it's like people might use a PlayStation 6 and be connected also to the metaverse. You got to think, from a different point of view. Some people will say, well, I don't think, I know this is about Panasonic, but I want you guys to think about this. Some people, point out like, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, if anything, people already have, for instance, a Meta, an Oculus, or, Oculus Quest, and there's other ones. Again, is there only one metaverse? No, there's not. There's multiple metaverse platforms, as we know. You got to look at the metaverse from the perspective of kind of like you drive down the street and you see a big old, shopping plaza, and everything is being built, but there's nothing there yet. And you can see the signs that says coming soon, like Kentucky Fried Chicken or El Pollo Loco or where the case be. My thing is this: how in the world would, I should say, how in the world wouldn't Sony prefer to keep people on their platform? Now, hear me out on this. We'll come on back into this for a second. You may think I'm kind of, getting off topic. It's not getting off topic because, again, Panasonic opens up the floodgates. Cybertrust opened up the floodgates. I want you to understand in regards to Sony, that could be huge because a great example of keeping everybody on the platform is X, the X platform, Twitter. Even me speaking as we speak, bringing this broadcast to you. All right, what is one thing I've noticed when I do a live stream? I noticed like I could put out a video on trying to get people to come from X and watch it on YouTube. A lot of people don't do that. You'd rather just stick on to the particular platform and stay there. My point is this: in the future, a Sony PlayStation 6, for instance, you can enable something in which people can still have the option to put on their VR headset and so on, but they're connected to, for example, maybe a Sony metaverse, for instance, and keep it there. Why would you want people to leave the platform? No, you want to keep people in that platform. Well, if that's the case, there's going to be a lot that is transacted in the metaverse. Well, if anything, don't get it twisted. A personal data locker, even on something like the Sony PlayStation 6 for the future, could be absolutely huge. Now, let's jump back to this for a second and understand these statements. So, recruiting users worldwide, or widely, like it says, I do think it's a big deal. And, the aim to use it in a wide range of fields, right? Again, not just IoT, finance democracy, and so on. This statement, JASMY Chief Financial Officer Hiroshi Harada, aka Harasan, who uses the name Hara on social media, stated on X that the new platform would do what? It would be built in 3 to 6 months. Now, I'm going to be the type of person which, when I've seen other projects in the past state certain things, I'm like, okay, well, hopefully it doesn't get delayed. But I can appreciate he didn't mention a specific date. It's better to go with a time range than a specific date. And that's good. 11 hours ago, he says, JASMY Panasonic, right, begin the collaboration. And he's going to spend, they're going to spend 3 to 6 months building a platform that ties a personal data locker, a decentralized database, to the IoT and allows device information to be attributed to individuals and provided to, and of course, there's more. Panasonic Advanced Tech website. I mean, it's all interesting. That's actually a pretty cool picture, in my opinion. But yeah, let's take you down to this for a second. So it says, according to the website, with the personal data locker, only hash values are managed on the blockchain, while data files are stored in a decentralized network. Thanks to this system, the storage capacity of single blocks and large file sizes are not an impediment to performance. We've seen this already, right, on the JASMY website. So, that's old stuff, but just kind of pounding it home. So yeah, guys, again, build as Japan's Bitcoin, Bitcoin in Japan, describes it on the website. Merchants pay JASMY to use data stored by it and the data owner, JASMY, as a reward. Paired with just about anything you could possibly imagine, not just IoT, but finance democracy. Now, in conclusion, excuse me. In conclusion, it's like this, all right? This whole thing about Panasonic is huge. It's nice to see something in regards to something that was speculative being confirmed. I've done this with Quant, and a lot of us in the community, we felt great about that because it's nice to be the type of guy that, you see the research being solidified, not by the community, but by people that literally either work for like Quant or JASMY or whatever the case be, right? It's always a great feeling. But while it's a great feeling, understand the significance about all of this. And while we're all like, wow, Panasonic, that's a huge brand. And, it's a sense of euphoria. You got to keep in mind the significance about this. So why is it all really significant? In regards to the bigger picture, other than, hey, this is a cool partnership. Well, 3 main things I want to get into that is significant that I thought I'd bring it to you guys tonight. So for one, and let me just make sure the branding's on, it is, it's secure and user-controlled IoT data. Right, absolutely. The platform will leverage JASMY's personal data locker. No kidding, right? And then some. Giving users control over their data generated by, of course, Internet of Things devices. This is a big deal in the age, of course, of privacy concerns, especially when it comes to, let's face it, Japan. Because there's also the whole thing of potential data breaches. What about the whole thing of this Web3 integration with IoT? Well, say what you want. This collaboration merges decentralized databases, the key aspect, of course, of Web3 with the Internet of Things devices. Some people will say, well, doesn't things like Filecoin already do that? Yes. But you understand this. Like I've always mentioned, Jasmy to get a little piece of the Filecoin pie is huge in itself. And you're more than welcome to research a little bit more about um, Filecoin. And I did a piece on X recently that is a big deal in my opinion. But you got to keep in mind, this is in fact a major, major step forward in creating a more secure and efficient IoT ecosystem. Again, think about it. IoT ecosystem. So if I'm going to talk about things like Stellar and Sorobon creating their own ecosystem because of smart contracts and what they bring to the table, for Jasmy to sit at the forefront of IoT ecosystems, that's big. So now you have examples of what being part of the ecosystem. Panasonic, that's probably the biggest one that we could think of recently. Some people say, well, Sony. Well, that's true. That's also true. Sony, Panasonic, but especially the whole thing of Cybertrust. So again, more and more key players are coming into this ecosystem. You start multiplying all of this, and you know, some people say, well, you can't do that yet because we don't have these things into motion yet. Right, I understand that. But once we get these things, whether it's 3 to 6 months from now or by the end of summer, it will happen at some particular point. And then what happens? Do we see price shock because we actually see utility in motion? I think the answer is yes. As far as how much it's going to be worth, is MS right? $2 or more? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But all indicators show a green light at the end of the story in my book, because again, this is why we're excited about utility driven projects. So this other part, and this is not part of this particular segment, but it was at the very beginning of the show, and that is this: the potential for various applications. Now, I did talk about Sony Bank and a Sony wallet and connecting that blueprint, if you will, to like, patents that existed on that can be applied and used as a blueprint for what we have with the Super Wallet. Well, it's a huge, huge thing in regards to the potential for various applications. How so? The open source nature and focus on speed and development suggests that the platform in itself could be used in a wide range of fields. This opens the doors, and like I just mentioned, it is for innovations across many different industries, not even just IoT, even finance, like we mentioned before. Now, we did mention all this stuff in regards to Jasmy. We got to talk about how does this benefit Panasonic, because that's being fair. Three main things we need to get into in regards to that. So, enhanced security. This is why, in my opinion, Panasonic is jumping on board with getting involved with Jasmy. Panasonic's IoT devices can benefit from the secure data storage and user control features. Understand this: Panasonic is an old name. And while they're an old name, they're still a big brand. They continue to exist because they did what? They kept up with innovation. All key players and big companies that kept themselves actively involved with strategic alliances with big innovation survive. Obviously, Panasonic wants to survive. It makes simple sense for them to team up with Jasmy because they realize that, for instance, this is going to give them a leg up in the evolving IoT landscape. Yeah, very true. What about creating new market opportunities for Panasonic? Well, the open platform's wide applicability might lead to new business opportunities, of course, for Panasonic. So by them strategically aligning with Jasmy, that even makes more opportunities for Panasonic because it tells the world that Panasonic wants to keep their users' data safe by not having data breaches or respecting the intellectual property rights of just that data in a place in the world where they're all about that. All right, this real quick. Back to the topic of Jasmy. What about the benefits in regards to all this for Jasmy specifically? And that's why most of you guys are here. Let's just be honest about it, right? Well, three things on that too. So it's the validation exposure. Say what you want. This is where Jasmy doesn't even have to advertise. Get what I'm saying? Because this product speaks for itself and it opens up the, it creates a snowball effect. You know what I mean? So validation, exposure, Partnering with a tech giant like Panasonic validates JASMY's technology and brings them exposure to, of course, a more wider audience. Say what you want. Word of mouth is still the best darn advertising, in my opinion, there is out there. This is a perfect example. What about real world use case? Some people say that this is the biggest deal of them all. Well, this collaboration provides a real world application for JASMY's personal data locker, and it potentially will boost its adoption. I'm going to say it flat out. Of course, it's going to boost its adoption. It's going to open the floodgates. It already has. What about potential revenue streams? And this is where the big enchilada of what you've been waiting for. I think the answer is yes. It's going to lead towards more revenue streams and get us towards maybe these KPI targets. And even if we don't hit the $17+ KPI targets of 2026, keep in mind this. What if we hit like a quarter of it? I mean, that's big in itself, right? Some people say half. Some people think we will get to the goals. We're all mixed on this, but the platform success could lead to new revenue streams for JASMY, obviously, and such as through data management or platform usage fees. Platform usage fees. Again, if you're watching this on the chopped up version later on, you owe it to yourself to go back to the Cybertrust outline because that gives you an idea of platform usage fees by tying in the government. And again, that is just one of few examples. I think Panasonic opens the door, obviously, to other things. I think, obviously, Sony is at the forefront as well. But you got to keep in mind, guys, in conclusion, the partnership or this partnership with JASMY and Panasonic has the potential to be game changer for both companies. No brainer, right? And it could significantly improve data security and user control in the Internet of Things space, while also paving the way further for other innovations in Web3 and, of course, IoT integration. Be on the lookout for JASMY doing big things, especially when it comes to the end of this year. And in my opinion, they're going to stand out, especially at the height of the bull run, which, again, is just my opinion, 2025. Maybe this is where they get some of the reports in regards to the 2026 KPI target. I don't know. And my also main thing is understanding that Japan's fourth quarter is not our fourth quarter. So maybe they give us the reports then at the beginning of 2026, and that's what they mean by that. Some people pointed out, well, by 2026, this bull cycle will be over, and that's true as well. Take the information as you wish, do as you please. None of it's financial advice. I just provide you guys information and research. Okay? All right, let's kick it back to the comments. That is the last particular segment of the night, and I do appreciate you guys all being here. What we're going to do now is answer whatever questions, comments you guys have left before we wrap it up. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. You guys rock. I really do appreciate you guys. I mean, something about if I talk about JASMY, not even JASMY, how about this? Last night's show, big show, over 600 people, obviously because Tokenizer was here. But yes, 261 on X, 75 on YouTube Maximus Crypto. You guys really rock. 336 total. That's what I'm talking about. Remember the days a couple years ago coming on here and it's like 15, 20 people. That's what makes it worth it. You know, it's a very humbling experience. You guys rock. Our community is awesome. Thank you so much. It really means the world to me. Thank you. All right. Let's get into it. Beep says, damn, baby G, that's a super sights. All right. I don't know what that's all about. About the Wick Donalds. Yeah, that's right. Baby G, it's real. Sorry, guys. I'm hungry. Food budget went to the dip. Oh, yeah, that's understandable. Corey Bibe, just made up the scam. All right. Thank you for that. All right. So I read some of this stuff before. Thank you again, Joe Solar. Guys, always welcome. Repeated, regulars and so on. Thank you very much. And then let's read this from Ankit Aryal. Despite such good news, why is JASMY price going down, sir? It's the overall market. I mean, that's going to happen every single time. I don't care who you are. Here's an example, okay? And this is just the way it is. So let's go ahead and share this. So it's called Market Dominance of Bitcoin and Ethereum. They represent 81% of the overall crypto market, whether we like it or not. And you do see both of these down. As much as we would love to see JASMY, do its own thing, and it has. Don't get me wrong. There was a short period of time after the second pump, major pump, when that news of Hong Kong, what they dropped, JASMY went against the grain, and that was cool. But it's not going to happen all the time. You also got to keep in mind JASMY is still an ERC20 token. They're not on that roll up. So Ethereum's down. It affects other coins that are part of that smart contract. BTC is also down. So, their overall market's down 2.40% decrease. That's what's going to happen. Now, there's other ones that are going to be up, but you have to keep in mind, why are these up? Maybe there's a positive catalyst for some of these things that are up. You can click on the 24-hour chart. We see some of these things. So basically, a lot of this stuff is down. And that's what comes with the territory. But usually when it comes to JASMY, if you see BTC up, Ethereum up, JASMY also runs a correlation with that. And then some. So just thought I'd point some of that out. Not trying to make excuses, but that is a reality. GG, anyone have any meme coin suggestions to spin the roulette wheel on? You're more than welcome to check out Hamstar. There's Byte. Byte has been doing really well for me as well. Shout out to XXI Gaming. Boom. All right, let's see here. Let's go. Yeah, that's right. CPR says hi, Max. Hey, thank you for being here, CPR. That's a cool avatar. All right. What else we got up in here? OG Crypto says he missed every single one of those damn memes. Well, it's what it is. I mean, it's I learned my lesson on some of them, but I also did well on a couple. So Byte. I mean, I'm not complaining. Hamstar, not too bad on that too. Not financial advice. All right, let's see here. GG, Digital G. Max, you should maybe release your AI content on May 4th. May the 4th be with me or whatever, right? Actually, one thing I wanted to do was purposely release it when the market was down. You'll see why. All right, not to let the cat out of the bag. I'm going to be really proud about that research. I want to just say that. I really mean that. You'll have to wait until it comes out, but you'll see why I waited so long. All right. It's getting a little awkward right now, isn't it? Anyway. All right. Inquirer minds want to know. Yeah, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag completely. All right. So OG Crypto, have to pause. You'll be back. GSD now. Max, I knew we could count on you to come with some heat. Super glad to hear you drop some JASMY gems. Thank you. Tonight's research, in all fairness and honesty, I mean, I provide you guys obviously my own take and notes and so on, but I can't take all the credit. Most of it was community based, like a little bit from Neo X Tricks, a little bit from, the guy that emailed me earlier, MS, and some other key findings and so on. Yeah, Lil Bid Man and so on. So, I never take full credit when it comes to that stuff, unless I'm like, well, if I put a lot of stuff together on my own, then you guys obviously won't see me say shout out to so and so. It's just it is what it is. But what I love about I just want to state this. What I love about JASMY is we are a community in which it's got that meme coin feel as far as like community building, but you have like solid utility and not just one layer of utility, like multiple things. It's awesome. It's so cool. It's like hitting two birds with one stone to a sense, or actually more than that. You get what I'm saying. I don't know what that is, but that's okay. I don't know if that's an innuendo to like that one guy from the Muppets, that always walks around with a cook. He's like, vert the furk, like vert the furk, Anyway, Hamish, I haven't seen you in forever, man. Welcome back, Hamish. All right. Black Rock Taggy. I may have it. Almost got me. I don't know. Hamstar is a low cap as you can get. All right, hold on. So you got Taggy. All right. This is bonus coverage for the one and only Elon Muff, Mike Cornwell. Let's see what we got. Hold on a second. Man, these lamps are getting hot up in this mug. You know? All right, let's see here. Let's go to X, because X going to give it to you. Stop messing with Mike Cornwell. X going to deliver to you. All right, let's see. Yes. I'll do a little bit more bonus coverage as well. Hold on a second. Maybe I already sent this to Mike as well. We'll give you guys, we haven't talked about this one project in a while, and I want to give him credit where credit's due. Hold on a second. Where is this? Just a second. So Mike Cornwell's got some stuff. Dang, where is this? Maybe I shared it to the other group. Hold on a second, guys. I got this. Hold on. That's not it either. Oh my gosh. Don't you hate it? Like when you want to pull up something and then it goes away. And even if you bookmarked it, somebody else makes out. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but anyway, hold on a second, Mike. I want to pull up this thing to kind of, because I know where you're going with this with BlackRock, and I want to tie in some other stuff as well. So, let me see. I'm going to go through this list real quick. It has to do with real world assets, right? I don't know. It was pretty cool, to say the least. Trying to pull it up. Come on now. And of course, all these spammers make the thing go away. Ah, boy, isn't that just ducky? You know. All right, let's see some other outlet report on the same thing. Hopefully they did. And if they didn't, then it is what it is. I don't know what to say. All right, so there's this. Well, let's read it all from this guy. Let's proceed to this other link. I know you guys are, what the heck is this guy doing? All right. This is not the article I was looking for. And it's not Lionel Richie. Black. Man. Mike, do me a favor, right? If you still have it. It's the one about like Relio and ClearPool and real world assets. Real world assets. I sent you the link the other day. And now I can't pull it up. So if you have that, I would appreciate it. All right. All right. So you have the tagging on that one. Let's try to pull that up. This is from Mike Cornwell. All right. Let's go ahead and share this. Okay. So you have BlackRock, right? Like it says. I know you don't see it yet, but BlackRock enters tokenization era, unveils digital liquidity fund. This was posted on March 20th, and it says they unveil digital liquidity fund. BlackRock is not alone in its tokenization quest, as Swiss-based Sygnum Bank embarked on tokenizing a $50 million investment in the Fidelity Institutional Liquidity Fund. BlackRock announced this in regards to USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund. The fund will have a minimum investment of specifically 100,000 and will use the Ethereum blockchain for its operations. Sygnum Bank is investing $50 million in the Fidelity Institutional Liquidity Fund, with plans to tokenize these funds on the ZK Sync Layer 2 blockchain. Additionally, the Saudi Arabian government is contemplating a $40 billion investment in AI in collaboration with venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz. All right. BlackRock launched its tokenization fund. The world's leading asset manager made a big stride into the digital asset space by filing a Form D with the United States Securities and Exchange Commission for the BlackRock USD Institutional Digital Liquidity Fund, which will be its foray into tokenized asset funds. Then it says, of course, congrats, BlackRock, yada, yada. This is another great milestone for the tokenization of assets. Now, something I want to point out here. remember how we talked about? All right, so I don't know if this is where you're going with this, and that's okay. So let me just talk about this for a second, okay? So earlier I did cite Securitize and the whole thing of Sony Bank and so on with the JASMY segment. But do you see a common thing here, you guys? Again, it's understanding like this whole thing like a finance democracy and so on. And I understand that, there's a lot more to it than just what's here, but it's interesting. It's always interesting to see what they're going to do. BlackRock. A little bit more about this. The fund, which was established in 2023 under the jurisdiction of British Virgin Islands, is yet to be launched. Through the Form D filing, BlackRock wants exemptions under Section 3 of the Investment Company Act, following it to operate with more flexibility and fewer regulatory constraints. The fund also plans to attract large investments with a minimum investment threshold of 100,000. Securitize, a leading US-based digital securities firm, is set to manage the offering and sale of the tokens associated with the fund. Look at this for a second. Tokenization, the process of representing real-world assets on a blockchain, is at the core of this initiative. The fund will use Ethereum blockchain employing ERC20 token dubbed BIDL. Interesting. Might have to look into that one. Despite currently having a single holder and no on-chain market cap, the fund recently received a pretty big boost with 100 million transfer. Oh my God. Really? Okay. Now you caught my interest. Hold on. Let's see what's going on with that. This is called Saratoga STG, supposedly. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get a deep dive about this, but that's interesting. Somebody else is going to have to get through this because I don't see how this is the same thing. Anyway, let's go back to this. Okay, of course, according to Etherscan, that's a lot of freaking money. That's crazy. The move comes after BlackRock's major success in launching a spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund. One of the first to receive SEC approval, Larry Fink, the CEO, right, shares bullish stance on Bitcoin and the broader potential of the tech. He sees a future where financial assets, including stocks and bonds, are tokenized. Yeah, we already know about that. Okay. Let's see here. Not only represents a major milestone for BlackRock, also signifies a growing acceptance and integration of blockchain technology in the mainstream financial industry. Okay. Signum announced 50 million investment in Fidelity liquidity fund on behalf of his client Matter Labs. By the way, guys, Fidelity is the third largest of the big institutions. Obviously, BlackRock's number one. Fidelity apparently is number 3, last I checked. This investment is attracting some attention, not just because of its size, but for the innovative approach of its management. The funds will be tokenized, which will be the first step in Matter Labs' strategy to transition its treasury reserves to the blockchain. Oh, shoot. I think this is why Mike wants us to see this. So other than that big thing about the 100 million. So yes, first step in Matter Labs' strategy to transition its treasury reserves to the blockchain with oversight and institutional custodians. Okay. Well, maybe this is the start. I mean, I don't know. The start of what? Well, we have talked about for the longest time. Watch out when you see examples of your BlackRocks, your Fidelities, your State Streets, your Vanguards, and so on, where they put a percentage of their assets on chain. Because what will that do? Well, what we'll do is your overall crypto market cap, instead of being 2.6 trillion like you see in it today and so on. I mean, where are we at right now? 2.6 trillion. Well, you can have floods and floods of like this being put on chain. That's a huge deal, right? All right, let's get into a little bit more about this. Signum tokenizing 50 million of Matter Labs treasury reserves into ZK Sync. Signum issues security tokens act as on-chain representations of units. From what? Let's open that up. Gosh, man, you got us going down the rabbit hole, and I was going to end the show, but this is interesting. Of Matter Labs treasury reserves onto the ZK Sync blockchain, Signum issues security tokens act as on-chain representations of units from Fidelity International's Fidelity USD 6.9 billion institutional liquidity fund. 6.9 billion in institutional liquidity fund to generate a secure and transparent proof of reserves. Interesting. Proof of reserves. In the past, people questioned Tether. You know where I'm going with this. Represents first step in Matter Labs' long strategy to move its treasury reserves on chain with trusted institution custodians. I mean, who bigger than BlackRock, right? By tokenizing traditional securities, Signum is strengthening the crypto TradeFi bridge and laying the foundations for a fully tokenized ecosystem. Oh my gosh. Wow. So instead of having examples of only R3 and Corda, we're now seeing examples of what, guys? Tokenized traditional securities and a 6.9 billion institutional liquidity fund. This is incredibly interesting. I see why you wanted us to not wrap up the show yet. Jörg Rimley, if I pronounce that right, country head Switzerland at Fidelity International says, quote, "We will welcome the partnership with Signum Bank that expands access to or for professional and institutional investors and strengthens the trusted bridge between the emerging digital asset economy and traditional finance." Fatmire Bekuri, Signum head of tokenization, says, "Working with Fidelity and utilizing ZK Sync, Signum leverages both the power of the blockchain and the experience of a global tier 1 investment manager. It's prime illustration of our mission to connect crypto and TradeFi and build the bridge future finance on chain." Marco Cora, Matter Labs SVP of Business and Operations, says, "Moving USD 50 million of our treasury reserves onto the ZK Sync blockchain showcases its institutional grade security as well as our commitment to transparency. We are eager to collaborate with Signum to bring part of the Fidelity Money Market Fund on the ZK Sync blockchain for investors." And of course, you have your citations here. But yeah, Signum tokenizes Matter Labs treasury reserves, and it's USD 6.9 billion Fidelity. So again, all right, I'm gonna retweet this. And if anything, I mean, maybe not a lot of people really get into it, and that's not the point. The point is, we have all been wondering about the hints of when institutions other than ETFs bring all this big money in. Is this the first example of that? Could very well be. And if anything, I think we'll follow it a little bit more. Thank you to the one and only Maximus Crypto sideline reporter, Mr. Elon Muff. Thank you very much. All right. Humish. Looks like I'm watching the chopped version. Right. Dr. McLovin, silly question. Are you in Phoenix too, or are you just like the Suns? I'm in Phoenix, yes. I am in Northwest Phoenix, Glendale, Phoenix border. Unlike Rue Black, who lives over in Scottsdale. Hi, Rue, if you're watching right now. Anyway, I know we always joke about that. But yes, I'm in Phoenix, and I am a Suns fan. I'm originally a Portland Trail Blazers fan. My second favorite team is the Suns, but Portland just absolutely sucks, and they're gonna suck for a while, and that's just the way it is. And I'm Suns were my mom's favorite team, so you know it is what it is. But yes, I'm rooting for Suns all the way. I don't know if they could pull it together realistically, but we'll see what happens, and it's gonna be fun. I always enjoy NBA playoffs and so on. Basketball is my main, professional sport that I watch and so on. So anyway. All right. Baby G says, thanks, Max. It was a time well spent. Thank you very much. I didn't want to go too long tonight, but this bonus coverage is okay. SPL says, sup, homie. Sup. Right back at you. You're very welcome, Humish. That's at 7:55, 15 minutes ago. And Balaclava man, telling me banana. You mentioned you will release AI content when market is down. Around when do you think market will be down? There always will be pullbacks, and if it doesn't happen when the pullback, it's going to be okay. I will most likely do it like on a Sunday because Sundays are good shows. I mean, I don't want to just produce content and it doesn't get seen, right? So yes, more than likely it'll be on a Sunday special. So shout out to Balaclava man for kind of pinning me down on that, right? All right, at DPG got you tagged Twitter on that article. Another one? Oh, was about the hold on a second. Great show. Thank you very much. Real part of the Roo fam. So big up Max. Great show. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that from Trust Truth. Let me see if you got that one that I sent you a while back, because I do want to share that because it's cool stuff. Hopefully you have it. If you don't have it, then it's all you have it. You rock. All right. So yes, they're probably gonna appreciate this for the I don't know. They're just probably gonna appreciate it. All right. Bonus segment before we wrap it up. Okay. I want to state this. I'm gonna get credit where credit's due. So Clearpool was the first cryptocurrency I ever covered on this channel. The main reason why I covered them back in December of 2021 is because, for one, I was personally invested into them. But another thing was really interesting. It was at the height of the bull run when they kind of like launched. They were at roughly 39-40 cents. They went public, and 2.5 weeks after that, they shot up to like $2, and I think it was like 47 cents all-time highs. They've come a long way since then. Now, if you believe in real good projects, right? You, of course, like anything, whether it's JASMY, you name it, you do what? You dollar cost average. Some of you guys call it down cost averaging, right? My thing is this. My last bag of Clearpool that I got was at 2 cents. That was the biggest bag I bought. And I was so glad that I stuck it out through all the FUD. And there was FUD in Clearpool, just like any other project. JASMY, you name it. But when we talk about the whole subject of, real world assets and the ones that are part of this bigger picture and being well diversified, Clearpool, in my opinion, does get the honorable mention. A shout out to Mike Cornwell, Elon Muff, for sharing this, because I sent this to him a few days ago and I ended up losing the article. So thank you, Mike, for bringing this up. I want to share this with you guys. Check this out. Not every day we could talk about Clearpool, but this is really cool in my opinion. So it's this right here, and let's take you to it. And look what it says. Let's just scroll down a little bit. Take that off the screen. Do a full screen on this one. BlackRock, because we were just talking about BlackRock, were we not? And Coinbase partnership and real world asset tokens signals Ondo, Clearpool. Yes, you're right. Clearpool, which is ticker symbol CPOOL. And these 6 real world asset coins could spike 100x. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, these are different people's perspectives and so on. But I do like what's mentioned here, especially with what we just talked about. Okay. Relio, have you guys noticed? I mean, my goodness. I mean, Relio up over $3. Mike Cornwell got into it at 8 cents. I came into like a little over 9 cents, slightly under 10. But those have been like 35 plus X for us, right? Is there other gems out there that are part of the mix? The answer is yes. So look at this a little bit more. And what you'll see here is this digital asset fund called BUIDL, BUIDL, backed by 100 million in USDC on Ethereum blockchain. Again, this is another example of this initiative. And I'm going to tie in what we just explained from Mike Cornwell and put into this as well. But it says this is an important move in the whole thing of real world assets tokenization industry. Notably, Coinbase has been selected as the key infrastructure provider for this fund, marking significant collaboration between major players aimed at driving the real world asset space forward. The BUIDL fund aims to maintain a stable value of $1 per token while providing daily accrued dividends directly to investors' wallets in the form of new tokens each month. This partnership signals BlackRock's commitment to exploring blockchain tech and tokenization of traditional assets, potentially unlocking vast opportunities with multi-trillion-dollar real-world asset markets. As the RWA industry continues to gather momentum, several promising projects have emerged as potential market leaders. And of course, according to this analysis by Alex Wasey, pronounced that right, on X, these RWA tokens could experience staggering gains up to 100 times their current valuations as mainstream adoption accelerates. Here are 6 notable RWA projects. And if anything, we're not going to get to all of them, right? But the point is, look at this, guys. Relio gets the honorable mention. Fully compliant layer 1 blockchain built with Cosmos SDK, designed specifically for tokenizing and storing real world assets in a secure decentralized network. I mean, are you aware that the whole thing of our IO, and let's just go ahead and show you this for a second. This right here was well over $3 and some change earlier. Okay. But look at this 75 million max supply, 55 million total supply. Now, I get where Rob Mass, aka Crypto Future, says only 8.76%, and there's a risk of them dumping. Right. We'll pay close attention to that. But for people like myself and Mike Cornwell, came in at roughly 8 and 9 cents. This has been huge for us. And of course, we'll monitor this like a hawk if they do decide to, fully dilute this by putting the whole supply into circulation, right? This is part of our due diligence. But again, very low supply, 75 million. And what's the main point? The main point is recognizing that these are low market cap gems. Confirmed market cap only 18 million, 18.5 million. Now, of course, I'm talking about ClearPool, but I also wanted to point that out. Getting back into this for a second, let's share this as well. And by the way, ClearPool just recently hit all-time highs, right? So Ondo Finance is known as, listed, but ClearPool, introducing a DeFi ecosystem with a permissionless marketplace for institutional liquidity. Again, think about that. I want you guys to really, really think about that. Because what is one of the main things that we talk about over here at Maximus Crypto? And not just us. There's lots of other people talk about, utility-driven coins and tokens. So if I'm going to talk about XRP, for instance, the on-demand liquidity, providing a solution for your banks of the world by refilling that cup of on-demand liquidity. I mean, can you imagine if they would have been around during the time or implemented during the time of the financial collapse of 2009, 2010 with the whole recession? Would the United States have the debt that it has now? It's debatable, but it sure as a heck would have helped, right? By not bailing out all these darn banks, having something with modern technology to get the job done. What we do know is this: on the surface, you have these examples of institutions. And this example is game changer, right? This is what has always made me bullish on ClearPool in the past. It doesn't get mentioned enough. Really, it doesn't. But yeah, allowing institutions to raise capital and DeFi lenders to earn returns through single borrow pools and compliant borrowing lending platform. They are part of the mix. Did you ever see some of these the ecosystem for this? So again, remember how we're talking about everything with other ecosystems and one thing snowballs into the other and so on. So custodians, immediately we're thinking of like BlackRock and some of the other ones, right? Asset custodians. But what about custodians and wallets? Well, Medico. Remember how Ripple, and Medico, that was a big deal. And then, for example, you got the distributors part of the mix. You see LCX part of that. A lot of other big names, right? This one right here, SDX. Remember how I did that big deep dive with Quant? You guys ever notice, some of this stuff in regards to the bigger picture? I mean, it's really something else when you look more into some of this stuff. Tokenization platforms. right? All these have a say. Onyx, for instance, by JP Morgan. Some of you guys have pointed that out to me. Like, hey, Max, do more of a deep dive on that. And I have in the past before some of you guys have, joined our community. That's okay. But yeah, to see ClearPool being part of this mix is game changer. Look at this. As the RWA industry continues to expand, driven by increased institutional involvement and regulatory clarity, these projects could play pivotal roles in shaping the future of asset tokenization and unlocking new opportunities with traditional finance. Again, traditional finance. Remember, while the potential for growth is substantial, conducting, of course, thorough research is crucial. But I love visuals and I love seeing all this stuff. And I love the idea that we are seeing things like ClearPool, and I'll just show you this real quick, really starting to get sent. I mean, my last bag of ClearPool was 2 cents. Now it's at 33 cents, you know? And look here, they're at $149 million market cap. Okay. Rank 374 is only 10, or excuse me, there's not even 10. There's 1 billion tokens. I mean, say what you want. I mean, this thing doesn't have, hundreds of billions or trillions. It's not a meme token, right? I'm gonna take you over to their Twitter real quick. I want to show you this real quick. I've retweeted some things from them recently, and yes, look at this. We're just talking about this is great. Thank you, Mike, by the way. We were just talking about real world assets, were we not? 4 hours ago, guys. Look at this. This is from Jacob. I always forget how to Jacob Kronbeikler. I always forget how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry about that. But it states, let's just full screen this real quick. Big milestone for the RWA sector. HSBC's entry, a clear indication of the growing acceptance among institutions, which we see firsthand every day when we talk to TradeFi. Right. What about TradeFi? Well, institution adoption of RWA is accelerating. Groundbreaking move signals a major shift in TradeFi, paving the way for real-world asset mainstream adoption. Mainstream adoption, guys. I mean, this is what we're talking about. So, I mean, while there's all this stuff being mentioned when it comes to real-world assets, I'm going to scroll down for a second. Sorry about that. In regards to, like, I should say real-world assets, but, ETFs, right? Shout to Coach JV. How he always says, hey, like, we're looking this way and there's a whole other thing going over here. I think this is the best example of that. Look at this for a second. Let's just pull this up before we end everything tonight. This is a bonus for you guys. HSBC's gold token goes live for retail investors in Hong Kong. Again, back to Hong Kong. We did a lot of coverage about JASMY in Hong Kong, but this is different. HSBC claiming bragging rights for being the first bank to create a blockchain-based real-world asset aimed at retail investors. How long ago was this posted? March 26th, so literally yesterday. Let's get that off the screen. Tokenized gold product is available. HSBC online. HSBC gold token minted on the bank's Orion digital assets platform. But getting more into this, understanding what's being mentioned. So, BlackRock is all about claiming that Bitcoin, BTC, is a great store of value. They call it digital gold and so on. But HSBC tokenizing gold for everyday investors in Hong Kong, claiming bragging rights as the first bank to create a blockchain-based real-world asset aimed at the retail market. I think this is a good example of how things go mainstream. Digital assets platform available on HSBC Online. There's an app for this. There's a bank that released this press release, obviously, apparently, today? Banks and financial institutions bringing a range of real-world assets on blockchains, both private ledgers and public networks like Ethereum. Again, back to everything we just shared. November last year, HSBC, I actually kind of remember a little bit about this. They did tease a tokenized gold offering plan as part of the bank's new digital asset custody platform, created in partnership with Swiss-based crypto safekeeping specialist Medico. And of course, there's the whole thing about this. Proud to uh, be the first retail product in Hong Kong that is based on distributed ledger technology, authorized by the Securities and Futures Commission, HSBC, Hong Kong, head of wealth and personal banking. So, again, why would somebody like Jacob of ClearPool even want to go out on a limb and mention some of this stuff? Well, again, understanding like the bigger picture, low market cap gems tied into bigger things. That's the way I take it. There's a lot more on ClearPool that they've been posting a lot about. There's ones I also retweeted not too long ago. So I want to point this out as well because this is good. Look at this for a second. ClearPool Prime announced new user of its ecosystem called Flow Traders, ClearPool's institutional credit platform. So, guys, why am I mentioning this? I mention it because I know that we're not doing coverage tonight about BSL, but you ever notice a common thing here? So there's other players. They're also part of the mix. BSL, Bank Social, as we know, is, for example, a tokenized credit union, right? Absolute gem. A lot of us done really well in Bank Social. I think ClearPool also needs to get the honorable mention, because again, look at what they're doing. Here's another great example. You see here that ClearPool Prime announced a new user of its ecosystem, which is called Flow Traders. And it's a leading global liquidity provider and market maker. My God. And see any of this tied into the likes of BlackRock? Do you understand the bigger picture? Initiated a $4 million loan on ClearPool Prime. The transaction was anchored by digital asset lender Dyor Tide. Flow Traders joins a roster of institutions, again, institutions onboarded to ClearPool, including Global Trading House. And I remember this. This was one of the first things I ever reported in the history of me covering crypto. Jane Street. That was huge. Why is that huge? Well, let me tell you why it's huge. So when this news broke out, okay, which was roughly, I want to say early 2022, okay, the reason why it was huge is because Jane Street was the biggest name in Wall Street at the time. And they, at that time, was the first to choose like a DeFi platform, and it was happened to be ClearPool. And I remember that was such a big deal. And of course, to see some of this. So again, BlackRock, uh, these ties to real world assets and putting money on chain. Finally, all the examples that we mentioned, and even just to have a little sliver or mention about ClearPool, I do think is big. In a nutshell, if you're not aware of what ClearPool is, it's a capital markets ecosystem. Okay, literally look at the tokenization of like credit and have real world assets tied into it, and all the other examples that we provided tonight. Again, do more of your own research. I've done deep dives about ClearPool in the past. I know I talk about JASMY and all this stuff to your ears, or I don't know. I would say bleeding. I should say that, but until I'm blue in the face. But believe it or not, when I first started this crypto journey of a content creator, I did over 30 videos on ClearPool. More than welcome to check out some of those if you choose to do so. I got to wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for being here. Smash that like on the way out. Let's see here. Will Swift reach its all-time high of 9 cents again? Yeah, you got to also look at it this way. When it was first released, I will agree with Underdog Crypto. Great researcher. My God, check out his channel, Underdog Research Channel. He pointed out, did a great outline. He had a premiere, I think it was yesterday. He talked about how you can't really count how it first released. Some people say they didn't experience a previous bull run. Yes, they did. I would say that what you saw last time around is what stood out, but they will have their moment, and they're getting things going. He did an amazing outline. You want to go to his channel and watch it. Did a better job than I could do of his, when we're talking alpha research, right? I would be honored to ever have him on the show or and someone do collaboration. But um, we will talk about some of these things. I'm sure that Rue Black probably is going to talk about some of these things in regards to some of your questions again. But I think we smashed that. I mean, anything to be mentioned in regards to, Chinese XRP, as the saying goes. I mean, that list of all of the, you know, oh my gosh. I mean, there were so many different projects that were part of the whole thing of, on and off chain and, was it TradeFi and these bridges, I should say, these swaps was a big deal. Stargazer. Hey all, hello Maximus, hello. I know OG Crypto has to go. Sorry to make it too long for you guys. I didn't want to go more than 2 hours tonight, but that's okay. Thank you, Light. You guys will see some stuff chopped up. Jasmine will hit the moon. Thank you. And Crypto Info DYOR, smash the like for the deep dive Kang. Thank you so much. I don't know if there's going to be a show tomorrow. Let's see. Tomorrow is Thursday. So there's a possibility, but either way, Friday for sure with Rue Black. So let's see here. I don't understand why Jasmine has dropped so much since the collaboration with Panasonic. Again, like I was telling the other guy, it's has nothing really to do with Jasmine. It's market dominance, BTC and Ethereum. Those are down quite a bit as a result. It represents 81% of the overall market. Things that run in correlation with those, which is Jasmine, will be directly affected. And that's just the way it goes. You guys have a great night, though. Possibly see you tomorrow. And if I don't, for sure on Friday with Rue Black talking about the Swift coin. All right. If you guys do see me tomorrow, it will be Stellar and Stronghold for sure. Okay. Have a great night. Thanks again for watching. And thank you to everybody for allowing the show to tick up to over 400. My God. 337 on X, 63 on Maximus Crypto. You guys rock. Doug A, thank you so much for saying that. Again, we'll see you on the next one.